The difficult problem that had plagued humanity for dozens of centuries was suddenly solved, and all of this was due to the appearance of one man. Famine, war, resource depletion, climate change. I will no longer let anyone suffer because of these problems. From now on, we will terminate the indifference that has lasted for dozens of centuries. On behalf of all mages, I announce here that we will officially step in to help everyone. I promise you this in the name of the Archmage Manhwa. At a time when human-caused problems brought civilization to the brink of destruction, the mages revealed themselves. Those problems that were thought to be absolutely unsolvable were resolved just like magic. Or rather, they were solved with magic. The world, saved by magic, ushered in an unprecedented golden age. The Archmage Manhwa, who taught people magic and led the mages to save the world, became the greatest, most glorious, and most beloved person in the world. Even so, there are still far too many things in the world that require magic to solve. I cannot solve so many problems alone. I need more wise mages who can assist me. I need your help. Manhwa told the young Eugen. As the greatest archmage, I will train you to become the second greatest archmage. When that time comes, can you promise to help me, Eugen? Of course I will help you, teacher. This was the promise made between the young boy Eugen and the Archmage Manhwa. 26 years passed in a flash. A mage had already been scared silly by the sight before him. Please save me. I feel so strange. Why can't my legs move? It's so weird. I don't want to die yet. Please wait a moment. Amidst the girl's hoarse screams, a giant hand slowly grabbed her head. Yet the person in front of the girl did not dare to make the slightest movement. The girl seemingly melted away from the giant hand that touched her. The man truly never expected that the childish urban legend actually existed. That guy who wandered around looking for any mage he could encounter, and then cruelly destroyed them using bizarre magic. The one and only stain on Archmage Manhwa's record, his abandoned disciple. The owner of that terrifying giant hand was Eugen, the one who previously made that promise with Manhwa. Don't come over here. If there's anything you want, just stand there and say it. I told you not to come over, you disgusting monster. Eugen did not dodge the magic released by the man. The man once thought that no matter what happened in this world, it would not be surprising, because magic existed in this world. But the viewpoint he had always held was completely shattered the moment he met Eugen, because this utterly absurd thing absolutely could not be magic. Did you guys hear any sounds? I can't see anything at all. Is the rescue team here? It must be the rescue team. This terrible slave life is finally going to end. However, behind the door was Eugen's incredibly bizarre face. I finally found you. Soon, the police and ambulances rushed to the scene of the incident. It should be that long-term captivity caused them to fall into extreme conditions. Although everyone is in a state of shock, none of the kidnapped victims have life-threatening injuries. The traces left at that scene. No matter how many times I see it, I can never get used to it. The only mage we know of who could do such a thing is that person, right? You just said everyone is in a state of shock, right? I feel that it might not be because of the captivity. Good morning, Detective Kim Sung-hai. We meet again. Thank you for your hard work today as well. How is the condition of the kidnapped people? The detective replied nervously. You don't need to worry. No one is in life-threatening danger. Hearing this, Eugen finally breathed a sigh of relief. Yesterday, right after I opened the door, the scene was total chaos with people foaming at the mouth and screaming. I was worried they might have been tortured, so I contacted the emergency services first. As for these mages, they kidnapped and imprisoned homeless people and runaway teenagers, forcing them to process magic ingredients. How much torment must the victims have suffered to turn out like that? Hearing this, the deformed mages tried to repent and begged for the spell to end. You still have to face the judgment of the law. You will be back to normal after you sleep and wake up tomorrow. Until then, take the time to reflect on your actions. This was the mage Eugen. Whether it was his appearance or the magic he used, everything was both suspicious and hair-raising. Yet, he was overly friendly and nosy to an uncomfortable degree. He had helped the police station many times without ever asking for a single cent. Sure enough, you cannot judge a person by their appearance alone. Mr. Eugen, thank you so much for your assistance this time once again. Detective Kim Sung-hai is being too polite. There's no need to bow. Problems caused by mages should naturally be solved by mages. If there's anything you need help with, remember to contact me anytime. Especially recently, there is a rumor that a serial killer is rampaging across the country. Because everyone is very uneasy, I am taking time to track this down. I heard the culprit has an indescribably terrifying face and cruelly mutilates humans, rendering them unrecognizable. I must stop this before the number of innocent victims increases. If you find any clues, you must tell me. Kim Sung-hai simply couldn't bear to tell Eugen that the terrifying serial killer in the rumors was actually him. It's getting late. I plan to start doing what I've been preparing for a while, and I have to give a copy to Detective Kim Sung-hai too. Please help me promote this around the area. Then I will excuse myself first. Seeing the contents on the paper clearly, Kim Sung-hai was startled. Was this person truly completely unaware of how scary he was? She couldn't help but wonder, did Eugen really intend to do this kind of thing? 30 years had passed since Manhwa made his declaration, and magic had long become an indispensable part of people's lives, but the number of mages was still severely insufficient. Therefore, the government had been advocating for everyone to sign up for magic-related training and had even established corresponding departments, and this was exactly what Eugen was going to do. This is the Yujin Magic Academy. I will meticulously teach various types of magic that are helpful for work and life at a low price. Actually, Yujin was very conflicted internally. Even if he could no longer stand shoulder to shoulder with his master, he still hoped to fulfill his promise to him. Although there were still a massive number of problems that needed to be solved with magic, it was still being used by far too many who learned it to plunder and harm others, instead of making the world better. Yujin had always tried to stop the visible chaos by himself, but that was ultimately just a stopgap measure that couldn't solve the root problem. At that time, Yujin kept thinking, was there any way to improve this phenomenon? As the disciple of the Archmage Manhwa, he had the responsibility and obligation to contribute to this world. It wasn't until that day that he was inspired by passers-by. It was a group of teachers leading young children. In them, Yujin saw his past self in his teacher, possessing wisdom, knowledge, and a kind, upright moral character. This was the method to cultivate more mages who could dedicate themselves to the world. Yujin had realized that he can raise the new generation of mages himself. Does your child also dream of becoming a mage? Did you know that the process of learning magic during adolescence not only enhances creativity and concentration but also helps with emotional development and positive character building? However, that young mother screamed and ran away. Yujin couldn't understand why the mother would run from such an important decision. Up until now, he hadn't managed to hand out a single flyer, and the people around him avoided coming his way. Yujin thought it was just because everyone was very busy, which was why they walked so fast. Just at this moment, he saw the inflatable tube man behind him, and Yujin suddenly thought of a great idea. He used magic to make himself very tall, which instantly attracted the attention of the surrounding people. He couldn't help but feel somewhat happy. Finally, passers-by were willing to stop, but to hand out all the flyers, he would need more hands. Finally, he added some little decorations to the flyers to make them more interesting. Let me teach you magic. Become an excellent mage and contribute your part to the world together. Seeing everyone running, Yujin even considerately handed the flyers right in front of them. The next second, the Yujin on the flyer began to speak. Whether you want to learn amateur magic or professional magic, it's all at the lowest price. Why did I only think of this now? This is the foundation of eye-catching, flashy marketing. In the amusement park my master took me to when I was little, that tall clown left a very deep impression on me. What a pleasant experience that was. Using magic to create joyful and profound memories for people. This is also a way to use magic for good. You're actually here, indiscriminately killing mages and non-mages. You psycho serial killer. Before Yujin could react, a spell had already hit his body. As he was about to fall, he pushed the pedestrians on the street to a safe place. I saw it was a mess at the academy entrance, so I came over to take a look. Are you that murderous monster that's been causing an uproar lately? This is a sacred place of learning that cultivates future mages, not a place for a monster like you to come and cause trouble. It's Choi Isuk, the director of the Prime Academy. Even the veteran combat mages are here. We can rest easy now. Seeing the commotion among the crowd, Choi Isuk somewhat regretted not using a flashier spell just now to actually use such dangerous magic in the city center. Good thing the one you hit just now was me. Seeing this, Choi Isuk hastily widened the distance between them. He couldn't believe that this guy didn't die on the spot. Before he could speak, Yujin grabbed Choi Isuk's head. It's you, right? The serial killer who uses magic to harm innocent civilians. I didn't expect that. Unlike the rumors, you actually look quite normal. Seeing people scattering in terror and screaming that the serial killer had appeared, I was certain. It is unforgivable that you actually used such dangerous magic on an innocent passersby. No one with a normal conscience would use magic that way. You finally managed to learn magic, yet you use it to do this kind of brutality. You'll have to pay when you wake up. I hope you can reflect well in prison and find a way to atone to the world. At this moment, Yujin contacted Detective Kim Sung-hai to apprehend his opponent. Everyone can rest assured now. Just as Yujin was about to continue promoting his magic courses, he found that there wasn't a single person left around him. Soon, the events that took place in the city center were posted on the internet. I heard that person is the disciple of the Archmage Manhwa. If you're so curious, why not ask right now? It's fine. We're about to finish the mission anyway. Don't forget whose command we are working under. She is the biological daughter and disciple of the Archmage Manhwa. Chief, please look at this. Do you know who the monster in this phone is? I saw many people online saying this guy is also a disciple of Archmage Manhwa. The daughter of the Archmage instantly recognized who it was. This is Yujin. So you actually know this person. I never thought you would actually know. Just then, the daughter of the Archmage directly crushed the phone in her hand. She had no doubt about it. Even after more than a decade, she could never forget that face. Now, she finally had the opportunity to prove herself to her father. Her name was Jong-ein, the daughter of the Archmage Manhwa. Yujin, the strongest among her father's disciples, had to become the target she proved herself against. In the city center, Yujin had already restored Choi Isuk to his original state. It was my misunderstanding. I am truly sorry. I really didn't expect you to be the director of the academy. But even if you were upset because I was promoting at your academy's entrance, you shouldn't just cast spells at people without saying a word, right? You could have just talked to me properly. Mr. Yujin, leave the matter of the serial killer to us police to handle. It's better for you to focus on the affairs of your newly started academy. If we need your help, we will definitely contact you. I understand. understand. I'll finish promoting elsewhere. I will cheer for you, Mr. Yujin. After seeing Yujin off, Kim Sung-hai finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then next, I'll go to the entrance of the elementary school to promote properly. He thought that teacher Yujin strung together sounded incredibly nice, so he was more inclined to gather more students and get the academy running. He swore he would definitely become a good teacher who could cultivate excellent mages. The story of Jong-ein and Yujin has to start from the first time she used magic. Dad, look at this. I can finally use magic too. Dad sees it. Of course you can use magic. You are my child, after all. But you must remember, so-called specialness isn't enough just to possess it. Only by doing things worthy of this specialness can it be considered truly great. So you must match the special talent Dad has given you and become a special person. Of course, I am your daughter. I have to become an archmage just like Dad. But where is Uncle Yujin? I want to hurry and show off to him. However, Jong Ui-hyuk fell silent. Your Uncle Yujin, he is simply a lunatic. Could it be that he used some magic of unknown origin to turn people into meat paste? That terrifying face is still fresh in my mind. Is that monster really the disciple of the Archmage Jong Ui-hyuk? Strictly speaking, he was a war orphan that was raised as a disciple. Yes, but in any case, you mean you don't understand Yujin's magic yet? If I hadn't let my guard down, I wouldn't have gone down that easily. Too many rumors are already out there to just leave this matter. So this time I made some preparations. I gathered the most outstanding batch of students from the combat department of our magic academy. No matter how bizarre the magic that guy casts is, as long as you and we together. You seem to have misunderstood. I only came over to ask for some information about Yujin. I did not come to hear the story of how you lost. You must be very busy. I will excuse myself first. However, Choi Isuk's students surrounded her. You come to visit someone else's turf. Isn't it a bit too impolite to just leave like this? It's one thing not to be able to help, but you can't have this kind of attitude, right? Please properly apologize to Director Choi Isuk and then cooperate with us. I've said it several times. This matter of cooperation. Let her go. Even just us is enough. She is just the daughter of the Archmage, not the Archmage himself. Including someone of this level won't be of much use anyway. She got lucky and learned magic from an amazing dad, but she didn't learn basic manners properly. Not long after, the students blocking the door were all knocked down by Jong-ein. Director Choi, I suggest that next time before you teach them magic, you first teach these guys what manners are. Meanwhile, back to Yujin's side. I really can't stand it anymore. What on earth is this guy laughing at? Hey mister, can't you be quiet? I'm sorry, did I disturb you? But the civilian was immediately shocked. Not at all. Please continue to enjoy yourself properly. After seeing Yujin's face, the two swore never to casually pat people on the shoulder again. Yujin came to the cafe originally to take Kim Sung-hai's advice and promote his academy online, but he accidentally lost track of time scrolling through videos. Just as he was about to start working seriously, he saw a familiar figure in a video online. Just as Yujin clicked on the video to confirm carefully, a hand patted his shoulder. You misunderstood me. I really just wanted to finish watching this and then go to work. I am truly sorry for disturbing you. Excuse me, are you Mr. Yujin? Hearing this, Yujin confirmed it. Someone really wants to meet you, Mr. Yujin. Would you mind coming with us for a moment? Currently, the target is obediently following us. Don't act suspicious while we are in the middle of the city. We will contact you again once we get in a taxi. I am very curious who I am meeting. Could you give a little hint? Jong-ein's subordinate regretted her words. I can't tell you. They want you to be surprised. What kind of person looks like that? And it wasn't just his appearance. Even the aura he emitted put everyone on edge. The moment Yujin made a suspicious move, he decidedly would immediately strike. I thought this was just a simple escort mission. He never expected such a task to be this nerve-wracking. Before departing, Jong-un had told them some information about Yujin. He was 34 years old this year. When he was about 4 years old, her father adopted him when he was a war orphan at the time and trained him into a mage. He once served as the chief researcher of the Magic Technology Research Foundation and disappeared about 14 years ago. So it wasn't a rumor. He really is the disciple of the Archmage. What's going on with this childhood photo? How could such a cute face turn into this? Please, you too, bring Yujin here after I am ready. What are you planning to do after seeing this person? On the day Yujin disappeared, my father told me that Yujin had disappointed him. The disciple who had always been deeply favored by my father betrayed him just like that and suddenly vanished. After more than a decade, he reappears as if nothing happened. I need to confirm on behalf of my father whether he will pose a threat to my father or damage my father's reputation. As long as I find even the slightest possibility. After you bring Yujin over, I will handle everything myself. You only need to report to me after confirming the situation. However, they felt very uneasy. Why has he been glaring at me this whole time? It's so creepy. I understand it now. You work with Jong-ein, is that right? But as soon as Yujin was about to show them a video, his left hand was severed with ice. Change of plans. Subdue him first, then figure out a way to take him away. I knew it would end up like this. A force of energy came crashing down on Yujin. We're going to be in big trouble. What change of plans? The chief clearly only told us to bring the person over, and now it's all ruined. Could this guy be dead? During the time the two were arguing, Yujin's severed hand began to slowly writhe. I accidentally scared you just now. I apologize, but no matter how upset you are, isn't this way of venting a bit too much? If we are attacked by Yujin, how should we handle it? Aren't there rumors saying many mages died at his hands? Not to mention he used to be the disciple of the Archmage Manhwa. I'm really not sure if our level can handle it. You don't need to worry about that point. Although Eugen's magical talent is extremely outstanding, he was still just a mere researcher. Go Huimiang, you're the top-class bodyguard that defended against countless assassination attempts. Juyunhai, you're the veteran mercenary who fought through the terrorist mage-infested war zones. Neither of you are useless straw bags like Choi Isuk. You have to trust my judgment. If something goes wrong, you just find a way to minimize the losses. If an accident occurs, remember to contact me immediately, and I will rush over right away. But by the time Zhongnan rushed over, Go Huimiang and Zhu Yunhai had already been turned into a puddle of mud by Eugen. The moment he saw Zhongnan, Eugen appeared very excited. However, before he could speak, Zhongnan blasted Eugen away with magic. Are you guys really okay? Chief, please be careful. No matter how we attack, he recovers quickly, and our defensive magic doesn't work at all. Most importantly, once you are touched by that guy, it's completely over. That guy is simply a monster. Just at this moment, more and more people around recognize Zhongnan's identity. We'll talk about other things later. For now, let's change locations first, Zhongnan said as she released magic and took the group away from there. In an instant, the group flew across the sky. Soon, they had already arrived at a deserted wasteland. I'm not seeing things, right? Is it really you, Zhongnan? You've grown so much. So much time has passed. It's been 14 years. You're already 20. Do you still remember me? I am Uncle Eugen. That hat was given to you by Master. You got it from your dad, right? You finally became a mage. However, Zhongnan interrupted. Those people I sent, why did you turn them like that? You mean this? I made a small mistake just now. Maybe this made them unhappy, which is why they suddenly started throwing lethal spells at me. I was afraid the people around would get hurt, so I turned them like this to let them calm down first. I have no interest in these details. I was debating earlier what excuse to find to fight you, but since you're already broken, I guess I don't need one. How dare you do this to my staff? And while bearing the title of the Archmage's disciple, you committed such evil deeds. This is the reason you must fall before me. At the same time, Zhongnan began to cast multiple buff spells at once. The only person who can inherit my father's title of Archmage is me. And one last thing, don't talk to me like we're close. Meanwhile, in Choi Isuk's Prime Academy, this is the disgrace of the director and the entire academy. So what if she's the Archmage's child? We must let that arrogant brat know her place. I know you are angry, but you should calm down first. That is the bloodline of the world's strongest mage, the Archmage Zhang Yuihyuk. Do you think she only inherited that wealth? When I previously participated in the operation to eliminate a mage criminal organization, I accidentally ended up in the same group as that woman. That was the first time in my magical career that I felt so pathetic. As two mages, the gap between us was so huge it was hard to believe. So even if I was looked down upon like that, I could only sit there silently. At that time, even counting me, if all the combat mages in our academy rushed up together, we couldn't possibly touch a single hair of hers. That woman's magic is no different from a natural disaster. I completely cannot imagine that monster being defeated. Seeing Zhongnan continuously using these powerful attack magics against him, a question couldn't help but arise in Eugen's mind. Why does the current Zhongnan look so angry? Zhongnan, did something bad happen? The Zhongnan that Uncle knew was not the kind of child who would be unreasonable just because she was in a bad mood. Shut up, you traitor. How dare you call yourself my uncle? You betrayed my father and suddenly disappeared, and now you shamelessly reappear and do things that tarnish the reputation of the Archmage's disciple. I am my father's true disciple, and I am punishing you on my father's behalf. Eugen didn't understand. What did Zhongnan mean by betrayal? He clearly hadn't done anything to hurt Zhongnan, but after not seeing each other after all these years, Zhongnan launched attack magic without hesitation. Eugen suddenly remembered something from Zhongnan's childhood. Are you saying you still can't use magic now? What did your dad say? He said to let me wait a little longer, but other children with magical talent have already started learning basic magic when they were younger than me. What should I do, Uncle? If I really can't become a mage, Dad will treat me. Don't worry, Zhongnan is the most beloved daughter of the greatest Archmage in the world. Dad and Uncle will think of every way to train you into an Archmage that is as amazing as your dad. When you can finally use magic, you will learn magic together with Uncle. I will make you so strong that you'll surprise Dad, okay? Hearing these words, Zhongnan finally calmed down. I understand. Then let's make a pinky promise. Eugen was absolutely certain that the reason Zhongnan was angry was because he had failed to keep that promise. At this moment, Zhongnan was also very curious. She had clearly used all the magic she could, yet none of it worked. She truly couldn't figure out what kind of monster Eugen had become. Meanwhile, Eugen was currently feeling remorseful that he had left her without watching the child become a mage. But just then, Eugen began to understand something. At this moment, Zhongnan was visibly tired. She had panicked and burned through a lot of her mana. Right now, no matter what magic she used, Eugen could counter it with that bizarre regenerative ability. But although he seemed to handle it with ease at the moment, unless one was an entity at the Archmage level, a person's mana would always have a limit. She had plenty of magic that could suppress him, but she needed to calm down first. I finally realized it now. I am truly sorry. What other reason could it be? It's just because Uncle was so happy to see you that I completely forgot about that matter. Zhongnan, you want to show Uncle the magic you've practiced so hard during the time time Uncle wasn't around, right? Hearing this, John was completely stunned. You want to tell me that even without Uncle's help, you've already become such a skilled and powerful mage, right? Being able to proficiently use so many magics, you must have put in a lot of thought. You really surprised me. You definitely worked very hard, and your dad must be very proud of you. John couldn't help but think of that afternoon. Beautifully done, as expected of my daughter. To get into the magic school with the first place score after only being able to use magic for a year is truly amazing, but to become the most outstanding mage among Dad's disciples, this level is just the bare minimum. Please continue to teach me a lot in the future. Dad, you must continue to work hard in the future as well. I will wait to see you become a disciple who makes me proud, just like Uncle Eugen. Just because of the phrase just like Uncle Eugen, John9's mind thought about magic almost every second. She always studied with all her might, continuously raising her level, accumulating actual combat experience while training. But regrettably, although her dad never skimped on praising John9's efforts and achievements, he never once said that she was his proudest disciple. Uncle Eugen, who disappointed her dad and then vanished, still remained in the place closest to her dad forever as his proudest disciple. At this moment, Eugen had no idea what John9 was thinking. He was still trying hard to praise the achievements John9 had attained. Eugen even felt somewhat fortunate that the student's psychological counseling methods he learned to found the academy finally came in handy at this moment. However, in the next second, John9 crushed the medicine box in her hand in anger, and this scene also made Eugen freeze in place. John9 threw the remaining pills in her hand all at once into her mouth. Seeing this scene, Go Huimiang and Ju Yunhai were also quite terrified. John9 truly did not want her years of effort to be brushed off by Eugen as a child's joke once again. I understand. Since you want to see, Uncle, then watch closely. How about this spell? Are you going to take this move with that regenerative magic you're so proud of? At this moment, John9's inner self desperately wanted to get rid of that unpleasant inferiority complex. Looking at the three increasingly bright circular rings in the sky, even Eugen couldn't help but be shocked. She has finally reached the highest realm of magic. She can actually use triple ring magic. I am so proud. Just how much effort did John9 put into master magic to this extent? I really want to help her out. With respect for the effort John9 has put in, let her reap even more fruitful results. In the instant John9 was about to launch the magic, Eugen finally understood. What John9 truly needed right now was absolutely not those meaningless praises. So this is the mana circuit of this triple ring magic being cast right now. If we slightly adjust the proportion of mana distribution, wouldn't the conversion efficiency increase a lot? What John9 needed the most right now was someone to point out the direction for her so she could go further on this path. There's one more thing. If the high-speed movement magic you used earlier could have its stepping timing altered. Not this again. Have you still not fixed that bad habit until now? Why are you like this? You still don't know where you went wrong, do you? Are you going to say again that you just wanted to help? You nitpick every mistake when you get the chance. We are fighting right now. I beg you to read the room. So many years have passed, and no matter what you do, you can't fix this bad habit. Even when I baked cookies as a gift for Dad's birthday, you did this too, saying my cookies were burnt and that I used the wrong ingredients. It was so embarrassing for you to do that in front of my dad. Can you stop tactlessly meddling in the affairs of the person involved and then feeling smug all by yourself? It's really annoying, you damn nerd. After shouting out her true feelings, John shyly lowered her head. Eugen, who had been misinterpreting her meaning all along, also didn't know what to do. I almost forgot you two were still under the spell. Let me undo it for you. For a moment, John felt somewhat at a loss. She had just lost her temper so much. If they continued fighting, it would seem very strange. John, when did you become able to use magic? To enable you to use magic, me and your dad put in a lot of thought back then. It was the day Uncle disappeared. The moment he heard this sentence, Eugen suddenly froze. Go Huimiang and Ju Yunhai. It's about time we headed back. Also, Uncle Eugen, you haven't told me what you've been busy with lately. There are quite a few mages looking for you now, Uncle, although I'm sure you can handle it yourself. But please act carefully, so you don't drag down Father's reputation any further. And one last thing, there is no need for you to return to my father's side now. Whether for me or for my father, there is no longer a place for you there. At this moment, the trio was finally ready to leave. Uncle, come over here for a second. Tell me where you live now. I will send you back. Keep this as well too. It's my business card. If any problems arise, contact me. I am advising you not to go begging my father again. If it's not something absolutely necessary, don't contact me casually either. But as soon as John finished speaking, Eugen directly thrust his hand into her body. What no one expected was that Eugen suddenly pulled John9's heart out of her body. Impossible. Why is it like this? This was the thing Eugen prayed would not be true. He had clearly tried to understand, and he even thought everything happened for a reason. He had even made up his mind to believe it. 14 years ago, Eugen did not suddenly disappear. He was cut to pieces by his own teacher, who took away his heart. But now, it turns out that his own heart appeared inside John9's body. This was something Eugen absolutely could not tolerate. At this time, years ago, someone was complaining to John Hyuk. Friedrich, could you please keep your voice down? I'm going deaf. You're actually going to teach magic to those lower humans? Have you forgotten why we've lived in seclusion for dozens of centuries? Those guys can't even master the knowledge they currently have. They are simply a bunch of fools who trap themselves themselves and will bury civilization with their own hands. What I participated in was clearly a plan for mages to guide humanity, not handing a dangerous weapon to those who don't deserve it. You foolish fellow, I'll just speak plainly. Mages are humans too. Mages have lived in seclusion all along, and the development of magic stagnated because of it. The publicizing of magic is not salvation, but coexistence. You actually call it coexistence? Behind John Ui Hyuk, Friedrich released a spell. You saw that, right? With a wave of my hand, I can easily end the lives of those ants, and you have the nerve to call it coexistence? Friedrich, if you don't believe it, then just watch closely. The times, as well as mages, will all change. Who knows? Among those ants you look down upon so much, a guy might emerge that even you, the strongest mage, will find terrifying. But before that, with your status as a mere mage, can you bear the cost of making an enemy out of me, an archmage? Time returns to the present. John finally awoke from her slumber. John, are you alright? This is your Uncle Eugen's Magic Academy. Hearing this, John was somewhat puzzled. Magic Academy? Uncle has decided to found a Magic Academy, but right now, Uncle is overwhelmingly busy with preparations. John noticed that her heart did not seem to have any abnormalities. It must be that after Eugen used that strange magic, he returned the heart to her. How can you two act as if nothing happened and chat idly with the person who ripped out my heart? How can you say that? Director Eugen here actually already knew about it. The problem with your heart, Chief. You actually casually pierced someone else's body just to confirm such a thing. Chief, didn't you use many powerful magics today? At that time, your heart couldn't bear the heavy load and seemed like it was about to stop beating. Seeing you faint, we also panicked. He was the one who hurriedly brought you here. Because the problem with your heart is classified, we couldn't send you to the hospital. Excuse me, there's no point in continuing to stay here, so I will take my leave first. Seeing Eugen remaining silent, Go Huimiang and Ju Yunhai didn't know what to say either. But just as they were about to leave, Eugen suddenly spoke up. John, Uncle has some words he wants to say to you. Some very important things. Hearing this, John asked Go Huimiang and Ju Yunhai to leave first. How is our Chief John so bold? Seeing who she grew up with, her terrible attitude makes more sense now. Speaking of which, why have you been staring at that thing since earlier? This is the flyer I saw in the academy just now. Has he lost his mind? He wants to teach students with that creepy face and magic? But it's indeed quite impressive, that bizarre recovery ability, and magic that can even bypass defensive spells. If we could learn those, it should be pretty good. However, Ju Yunhai disagreed. I'm sure that their current conversation is just Eugen asking our chief to promote his academy. While the two were chatting, they accidentally bumped into a passing pedestrian. Go Huimiang apologized to the person almost immediately. I think I recognize you too. I saw you on the internet before. You are the mages working with the daughter of the Archmage, right? I didn't expect us to be so famous already. Yes, that's us. Have we met before? The man continued. So young people nowadays don't recognize me anymore. I am a friend of John Nine's father. You could say I'm her uncle. Meanwhile, back in Eugen's academy, what is it that you have to say? John Nine, every time you use magic, do you feel an especially heavy burden on your heart? Did Dad already tell you everything? Then there's nothing to hide. If I continue using magic like this, I might die very soon. The moment he heard these words, Eugen's expression became extremely solemn. It's ironic. I inherited the most special talent from my father, but because of my rare condition called mana allergy, the burden on my heart continues to accumulate, and eventually, I will die from my heart exploding. Mana allergy? This lie was woven quite decently. Eugen thought to himself while subconsciously picking at the scar on his neck. Did you take out my heart to inspect it because you were curious? Whether in the past or now, your ridiculous impulse hasn't changed at all. If you finished what you wanted to say, I'll take my leave. I still have many things waiting for me to handle. Just as John put on her hat and was about to leave, Eugen grabbed her hand. There are many things to do in this world besides being a mage. Rather than letting you live a short life as a mage, it's better to find something else to do. Uncle will help you start over. You've crossed the line now. I already told you, right? You are no longer my uncle. You have no right to interfere in my life. This is my life. It's the specialness I inherited from my father. I was born with this incurable illness. It's my fault. So this is a problem I should bear myself. Telling me not to be a mage? I am clearly the Archmage's daughter. If I don't become a mage, a life like that is worse than being dead. Are you founding a magic academy? It couldn't be more fitting. Rather than spending time meddling in my affairs, you should go worry about those students who will pay to listen to your classes. Hearing this, Eugen wore an eerie expression on his face. John Nine, the truth is this. But just as Eugen was about to speak, he was interrupted by John Nine answering a call. Ju Yunhai, what is it? Why does your voice sound like that? I'll head over right now. You guys must hold on. I have an emergency. I'll be going now. Eugen was conflicted if he should have told her the truth. That was an incident that occurred while he was still serving as the chief researcher at the Magic Research Foundation. This simulation also failed. Even if we use all known medical magic, when you transplant a mage's heart into someone born unable to accept mana, we can't stop the rejection that occurs. But as long as this problem is solved, we can cultivate more outstanding mages who possess both character and wisdom. I just feel that the base premise of this simulation is too extreme. You want to transplant your heart, which I know possesses the highest mana density, into John Nine, who isn't even 8 years old yet. John Nine is not only teacher's daughter but also my most precious niece. Of course, I want to give her the best thing I have. have. But even if she can use magic, she would only live a short life. For now, let's shelve this method. Let's think it through more. There must be another way. But Yujin knew that even if Jeonnine knew the truth now, she definitely wouldn't be willing to give up. Yujin didn't know what to do. Should he forcibly make her give up, or take measures to make her unable to use magic? Ultimately, this was all because his teacher took his heart, and he knew that Jeonnine is going to die because of him. In other words, Yujin couldn't think of any way to solve this matter. A deep sense of powerlessness struck him. Just like 14 years ago, Yujin was still that useless piece of trash. Right at this moment, the doorbell suddenly rang outside. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to Jeonnine's side. Apart from the color of your hair and eyes, there's nothing special either. There aren't that many similarities, but that hat of yours reminds me of past events. But just from making eye contact with the man in front of her, Jeonnine could feel this suffocating pressure. That guy who was once Jong Ui-hyuk's right-hand man, but betrayed him after destroying several cities. This was Friedrich, the strongest existing combat mage. Whenever I think of those past events, I feel so disgusted I want to throw up. Friedrich twitched his finger and tossed Ju Yunhai and Go Huimiang toward Jeonnine. Speaking of which, why are you bringing these two dead weights? They are too weak. They don't even qualify to run errands for me. I'm sorry, Chief. I shouldn't have called you over, but I was too scared. I will send you to the hospital. Thank you for everything you have done for me. But before Ju Yunhai could react, Jeonnine sent them away. I've given you enough time to say your goodbyes. Now it's your turn to help me out. For the first time in ages, I'm on my way to see your father, Jong Ui-hyuk. If I go empty-handed, it would be too rude. But if I bring his daughter's neck, wouldn't it make this reunion after 30 years much more interesting? As a friend of my dad's for many years, you actually don't even know my dad's preferences. You won't be seeing my dad today. Jong Ui-hyuk's daughter, the Archmage's most loyal disciple, decided to die a glorious death here. The two people sent to the hospital by Jeonnine using magic were quickly discovered by doctors. The patient has lost a lot of blood. Transfer him to the emergency room immediately. Go Huimiang's phone screen was still lit. It seemed that right before he fainted, he was still on a call with someone. Meanwhile, back in Yujin's Magic Academy, I've already asked the people in our PR department for help. They said they would briefly compile some methods about online promotion and send them to me. Is there anything else you need help with? However, Kim Sung-hai actually came over specifically because she was afraid Yujin would get into another accident. Although she was quite familiar with Yujin by now, every time she saw him, she still felt pressure. Not to mention that this time Yujin looked full of melancholy, making him look even more creepy. But she was also somewhat curious as to what had happened to make Yujin become like this. I'm very sorry. I don't plan to continue the academy anymore. I will look for other things to do. There is a child struggling for her dream, hurting herself because of it. But instead of helping the child realize her dream, I even advised her to give up, and it seems I left a very deep scar in her heart. I was clearly being a busybody, yet I couldn't even grasp the other person's thoughts. A guy like me actually delusionally wanted to become an educator who guides others. It seems this is not a suitable job for me. Hearing this, Detective Kim Sung-hai gave him advice. This job as a detective, the experiences are far beyond what I imagined. For example, a robber broke into a house. I smashed the door and rushed in to protect the victim, but the victim told me to compensate for his door. Or another time, I encountered someone who wanted to jump off a river to commit suicide. I saved the person shivering by the bridge, but the other party questioned why I saved him. Even in situations where help is obviously needed, people either don't realize the crisis themselves or deliberately avoid it. People like this are everywhere in the world. Should I give up because of this? Regardless, helping those in need is our duty as police officers. Since teacher Yujin has made up his mind to become an educator, if someone is in trouble but chooses to refuses to see it, then you should inform the other party of the crisis, think together with them, and find a way to get out of the predicament together. This is the duty of an educator. Yujin certainly wanted to do this too, but he really didn't know how. There must be a way to solve it, right? This is a world where magic exists. As long as you are willing to work hard, there will definitely be a way. Hearing this, Yujin finally realized something. He finally thought of a way to help Jeonnine. Meanwhile, Jeonnine was being forced into a continuous retreat by Friedrich in front of her. As the strongest combat mage existing in the world, his strength was unquestionable. The magic Friedrich casually released possessed immense destructive power. Jeonnine was forced to use multiple single-ring magics. In an instant, she released 10 mana bolts, but those attacks were blocked by Friedrich with a single finger. However, Jeonnine used high-speed movement magic to arrive behind him. Instantly, 8 magic circles appeared in her hand, releasing 4 two-ring magics at once. High-frequency rebar, axe headstorm, telekinetic explosive rounds, mana blades. But even so, Jeonnine still couldn't break through Friedrich's defensive magic. He merely lifted his fingers slightly and blocked all of Jeonnine's attacks. And with a simple spell, Jeonnine was once again blasted away. Jeonnine could only change her strategy again, switching to complex magics of single-ring and two-ring magic attacks. Telekinesis, combined with a 10-fold output amplification, allowed her to directly lift a piece of land nearby. It came crashing down like a tidal wave, burying her opponent under a newly formed hill. After the several rounds of offense and defense just now, Jeonnine's body was already overwhelmed. An ordinary mage simply couldn't use so many attributes and types of magic, let alone possess the ability to integrate these magics perfectly in that exaggerated, unrivaled amount of mana. As expected of the Archmage Jong Ui Hyuk's bloodline, truly an outstanding mage. Is this the praise you want to hear from me? I know you are very skilled at using multiple types of magic, but the magics you used just now, there wasn't a single one that was effective. I didn't come here to watch your talent show. However, Friedrich suddenly realized what was in front of him. Could this be three-ring magic? At this moment, Zhang-An was already preparing to release her triple-ring magic, her strongest magic at her current stage. Triple-ring magic, Pupil Meteor Spear. In Zhang-An's view, once this magic was used, the battle would completely end, because this triple-ring magic had already exhausted all the mana in her heart. Right now, even if she only used the most basic magic, she would die from her heart exploding. But Friedrich in front of her was still unscathed. Zhang-An knew very well that everything was over, whether it was her career as a mage or her life. But at least in her final battle, she had struggled desperately. She hoped she could become an existence that made her father proud. You should just go home. I heard that Jong Ui Hyuk's biological child was active as a mage, and I was quite expecting this to be someone he put a lot of thought into cultivating. The magics you used were just crude tricks that only stacked effects in power, and your so-called triple ring magic is nothing but 3 individual magic rings stitched together. It's really infuriating. I made a special trip here, and this is the level I get. Now I actually feel sorry for Jong Ui Hyuk for giving birth to a failure like you. Even if I killed you, it would just be helping that guy clean up a hard-to-handle piece of trash. I'm not going to do that guy any favors. I should have known from the moment I saw the level of the subordinates you used as bait. Hurry home and wash up for bed. Where are you going? Finish our fight. Didn't you say you were going to take my head as a gift for Dad? I'm not done yet. Come back and continue. Jong-un understood that if she survived now, she would only be left with a miserable life, unable to use magic. What gibberish are you babbling about? It's really noisy. Stop pestering me. I've already spared your life, and you're still relentlessly begging me to kill you. The moment Friedrich turned around, Eugen appeared. Zhang-Nine, you are here. Instantly, both Friedrich and Zhang-Nine were startled. Uncle Eugen, what are you doing here? A few minutes ago, Eugen received a phone call. Friedrich, I know him. Where's the place you mentioned? I understand. I know that place. Don't worry. I'll go right now. Zhang-Nine will be fine. I am truly sorry. Detective Kim Sung-hai, an extremely urgent matter has come up. I made you worry by showing this gloomy face. I am truly sorry. It's nothing. Anyone would be like this. Maybe I was just being a busybody. Thanks to Detective Kim Sung-hai's comment about being a busybody, I gathered my courage again. I will contact you after I finish dealing with the emergency. Just how urgent was this matter that he had to go out through the window? However, looking at Eugen's demeanor, she knew Eugen had pulled himself together again. But who in this world could look at such a terrifying expression and pull themselves together? Not long after, Eugen arrived at the place mentioned on the phone. The scene was total chaos. It looked like it had been bombed by a missile. I haven't finished yet. Come back and continue. Hearing this familiar voice, Eugen immediately rushed over. Immediately, he stopped her magic casting. Uncle Eugen, how did you know about this place and find your way here? Go Wimyang told me. He called to tell me Zhang-Ein was in danger. Later I will thank. Before Eugen could finish his sentence, his head was blown apart by Friedrich's magic. Truly scary. What is that strange guy? Is he your boyfriend? Setting aside the fact that he interrupted while I was talking, your appearance really makes it impossible to show mercy. I really couldn't hold back. Halfway through his words, Friedrich froze. Your temper is still as explosive as ever, no matter the time. Please wait a moment. I will have a good chat with Zhang-Ein and then come over to accompany you. Uncle Eugen, what are you doing? It turned out that as soon as Eugen came over, he took Zhang-Ein's heart out again. Look at this heart. In this state, it wouldn't be surprising if it exploded at any time. If Zhang-Ein had used magic just now, you would truly be finished. I told you to stop meddling. Don't you understand? The daughter of the Archmage Jong Ui Hyuk, Zhang-Ein, at least wants to die as a mage. Meddling? Why can't I meddle? Is there any uncle in this world who would leave a child determined to die alone? How can I just leave you alone like that? Seeing the utterly crazy Eugen, Zhang-Ein also froze. Then what should I do? For me, the only opportunity to make father look at me differently is this. Other than this, I have no other way to prove myself. I don't want to die either, but carrying this kind of heart, it's impossible for me to become an archmage. Exactly what must I do to become father's proudest disciple? You don't know what to do? This is why uncle came to find you. You are able to cast those powerful magics that soar through the skies and overturn mountains and seas because of the mana in this heart your dad passed down to you. However, temporarily set aside this specialness. As long as you, Zhang-Ein, promise not to give up your life and give uncle a chance to take responsibility, uncle will think of every possible way and will definitely turn Zhang-Ein into an archmage. Even dad couldn't help. What method could you possibly have? But she suddenly thought that the person she had always desperately wanted to become was Eugen right in front of her. Zhang-Ein looked at the incredibly ordinary flyer in front of her. The only special thing was the line added in the bottom right corner just now. Zhang-Ein's special course. Seriously, is taking someone else's heart just to threaten me? It leaves me truly speechless. I'll take my chances on you, then. The title master is a bit too cliche. Let's be a bit more fashionable. Call me Teacher Eugen, Eugen said as he crushed the heart in his hand. Zhang-Ein could not believe her heart was just turned to ribbons by Eugen. Long time no see. It was good to meet you again. Although I'm very sorry, I still have to ask you. You who are no longer longer my heart now. Please continue to beat as Jal9's heart. At that moment, the mana that had always continuously surged from Jal9's heart could not be felt at all now. Her heart felt at peace, and that feeling of it not being her own heart also vanished. I can live again. Jal9 swore she would live, regain her magic, and then become an archmage. Sorry to keep you waiting. Jal9 and I have finished talking. If you have any business, just tell me. Simply absurd. I can't even remember how long it's been since I was ignored like this. You're asking me what business I have? Originally there was nothing, but now there's something I'm very mindful of. Didn't you just say my temper is still the same? The tone you speak in sounds as if you've met me before. I don't remember meeting an ugly guy like you. After all, too much time has passed. The last time I saw you was probably 30 years ago. You came to pick a fight with my master back then, ended up getting beaten by him, and then ran away. You said picking a fight? Me running away? The words you choose are quite interesting. Why do the guys taught by Jong Ui Hyuk all share the same virtue? Are you spewing filth to provoke me? Just the thought of tearing you into pieces makes my whole body surge with energy. Are you crazy? Why provoke that guy for no reason? He is Friedrich. He is the strongest combat mage, unrivaled by anyone except the Archmage. You clearly said you would save me, yet you made a total mess. Now both of us are going to die. This is quite good too. If we just leave that guy alone, it's too dangerous. And since it's come to this, displaying it on this kind of occasion makes it easier for people to remember. Watch closely. The first student of the Eugen Magic Academy. Prepared for Jong-ein. Teacher Eugen's Archmage curriculum. Freshman orientation. Seeing the strange magic rings appearing in Eugen's hands, Jong-ein couldn't help but be curious. Is this magic? I have never seen such strange magic rings before. Of course it's magic, because Jong-ein can't use magic right now. Just in case, I have to cast a defensive magic on Jong-ein. The two-ring magic Eugen released was called Aegis, an all-attribute full-body defensive magic, but it might still be dangerous, so you have to step back a little. By the way, Jong-ein, do you know how much mana this magic consumed just now? Of course I know. Why ask me this all of a sudden? If it's Aegis, I always use this defensive magic in battle too. Eugen interrupted. The correct answer is, no mana was consumed. Jong-ein, you don't need to worry too much about the mana in your heart disappearing, because inside teacher's heart, there isn't a single bit of mana. From now on, what I want to show you is the method I will teach you later. This is how to cast magic without using mana. Jong-ein was completely dumbfounded. In this kind of situation, he was still saying things that left people bewildered. She couldn't help but wonder, could Eugen really win? Friedrich also began to analyze the situation, walking over without any defense at all. Barring any surprises, he should be a close combat type mage, and as Jong Ui Hyuk's disciple, he must be extremely confident in himself. Therefore, he decided to first see what Eugen's magic looked like. The first attack magic Eugen released was a two-ring magic, Binding Vine Rope. Friedrich easily blocked it with his defensive barrier. However, what he didn't expect was that the moment the vines touched his defensive magic, his own magic began to distort. Suddenly, the vines actually directly broke through the defensive magic and bound Friedrich's limbs. Seeing this scene, Jong-un was dumbfounded. The defensive magic she couldn't break even with so many powerful magics was actually cracked by a basic magic. Your magical foundation is not bad. Much stronger than Jong Ui Hyuk's daughter. But that is all it gets. Only considered not bad. It wasn't nearly good enough to provoke me like that. Instantly, Friedrich once again used magic to blow Eugen's head apart. If I remember correctly, even if I blow your head off, you can still regenerate, right? This is indeed a bit shocking. Regenerative magic that can repair this degree of extreme damage is indeed quite rare. Could this be the source of your confidence? This level of regenerative magic is disgustingly unstoppable. However, Uncle Eugen's opponent is the strongest combat mage, Friedrich. Perhaps he could find a way to crack that regenerative magic. This is not my first time fighting a mage skilled in regenerative magic. An immortal body without weaknesses does not exist. As long as it is regenerative magic, there must be a core and a limit point to the regeneration. As long as you dismantle the whole body from the inside into molecular units and reconstruct it into a total mess, you can easily destroy the regenerative magic. However, Friedrich was completely dumbfounded at what he saw. His own magic was actually caught in Eugen's hand. It turned out that the black lightning he released was a decomposition magic that could dissolve all matter in its path. As long as it touched anything, whether object or mana, it would be decomposed into molecular units. It was absolutely impossible for it to be casually grabbed in someone's hand like wild grass. Friedrich truly couldn't figure out what kind of strange magic this bizarre guy in front of him was using. But since this move was useless, Friedrich naturally wouldn't continue wasting time. He decided to decompose Eugen's entire body first before figuring out how to deal with that strange magic. However, right at this moment, Eugen grabbed Friedrich's arm. I caught you. Caught me? Do you mean catching the 12-layer high-density defensive magic wrapping my entire body? Although you feel like you grabbed my arm, it is no different from touching the outer wall of a nuclear bomb shelter with your bare hands. But the moment Friedrich finished speaking, his arm seemed to melt. He began to panic from the bizarre magic being displayed. As such, Friedrich could only personally sever his own arm off. What should we do about this? It must hurt a lot. Even the bone had to be cut off. Why didn't you just let me keep holding on to it? Friedrich began to worry. Even when he fought the Archmage Jong Ui Hyuk, he didn't lose as as miserably as he did today. He simply could not believe that the magic used by this bizarre guy in front of him actually existed. Yujin called the spectating Jiang. Sorry about that. I originally wanted to show you more magic that can be used without mana, but I really can't spare the time. So let me briefly explain what I just showed you. You already saw this during the day, right? Magic that can freely change one's own form and composition, and going a step further, even deform other objects that are touched. Strictly speaking, this doesn't count as magic. The name of the technique you will learn next is ringless magic, magic that can be used without needing rings. Just then, an eruption of black lightning occurred. Friedrich released his attack magic again. Ever since earlier, a very strange feeling had been lingering in his heart. Friedrich's judgment kept being swayed by his mood. He couldn't help but wonder if it was caused by the pain of his severed arm, but he quickly dismissed this thought. Could it be because he felt confused by the bizarre magic of unknown origin used by this kid? Friedrich knew clearly in his heart that this wasn't the reason either. No matter what magic Friedrich used, Yujin showed absolutely no intention of responding. He simply took all the magic head-on and then appeared completely unscathed in front of Friedrich. From the moment Friedrich confronted Yujin, an indescribable sense of disgust gradually welled up in his heart. That feeling was like getting entangled with something that shouldn't be touched, as if he were facing an entity that shouldn't exist in this world. You damn bastard, die! Some unknown emotion had taken over Friedrich's heart, and he already knew what kind of emotion it was, but he didn't dare to face it, because he was the famous Friedrich, the strongest combat mage in the world, so he couldn't accept, much less admit, that he had developed fear toward Zhang Yuihyuk's disciple. Did I smile too excessively? I'm truly sorry. In this state, the more I use magic, the more my brain itches. I just can't control myself. Jiang wondered if the battle was finally over. Although Yujin spoke with confidence earlier, Jiang was always worried that some accident might happen, but right now, it was certain. Yujin had defeated Friedrich. Having lived this long, to think there would come a day when I see my own heart with my own eyes. If I said I let my guard down, would you believe it? Did you let your guard down? I am not a combat mage, so I'm not too sure, but since you say so, I naturally believe it. To make a comment like that at this time, as expected of the guy taught by Zhang Yuihyuk, to this day, I still can't forget. You, Friedrich, casually released a spell and destroyed a city, filling it with miserable screams. Letting you use magic is simply too dangerous. The story of the mage Friedrich will end right here. Be as arrogant as you want. I admit you have earned the right. You won this time, so I'll give this thing to you as a trophy. Yujin truly didn't expect Friedrich to actually sever his own heart. It turns out that he transferred all his mana into his blood vessels. After escaping Yujin's control, Friedrich called out a name of a person. Shaori. It is time. Yujin knew very well that such a dangerous guy absolutely could not be allowed to leave, but a hand appeared out of thin air above Friedrich. That person named Shaori, while transferring Friedrich, used magic to sever Yujin's body. Instantly, Yujin's severed body parts crumbled to the ground. Without a doubt, Shaori was a space mage. Didn't you say you wanted to see Zhang Yuihyuk? That monster couldn't possibly be Zhang Yuihyuk, right? Losing your heart and an arm. What's going on? I'll take you back immediately. Not right now. Thanks to that guy, I figured something out, so I want to try and see if I can send him a return gift while I'm at it. While Yujin was charging over, Friedrich began chanting magic. At this moment, he was releasing his own triple ring magic, Schmelztiegel der Leer. The moment Friedrich finished chanting, a thin line grazed Yujin's cheek. I don't say this kind of thing often. You've allowed me to gain an unexpected reward. I will prepare a grander, more interesting duel for you. Let's have a proper contest next time we meet. Amidst Friedrich's manic laughter, Yujin silently wiped the blood from his face. Is it already over? Friedrich and the other person ran away. Oh my god, this is insane. That was Friedrich. I simply can't believe you defeated the strongest mage. That's something absolutely impossible to do without the Archmage's power. It was just good luck on my side. Actually, Yujin also felt somewhat fortunate to be able to end this battle before time ran out. Do you think that arrogant old man would obediently admit defeat? It was Uncle Yujin who won. Although I knew long ago you were amazing, but what exactly is that ringless magic? Jiang, what teacher can do, and even greater things than that? I will make sure that Jiang will be able to do it too. I am the disciple of the greatest Archmage, and I will make you the second greatest Archmage. Until that day comes, don't get into trouble like today. Can you promise me you will cherish your life? Hearing this, Jiang couldn't help but smile, realizing that the Uncle Yujin in front of her hadn't changed at all since back then. Teacher Yujin, I promise you. Meanwhile, a phone call reported everything that had just happened to Zhang Yuihyuk, that there was a massive battle that occurred in the mountains outside of S City. So that child Jiang went after all? If I had known earlier, maybe I could have stopped it, even without using death to prove it. As a father, I would give that child enough love. I'm sorry to interrupt you. During Jiang's battle with Friedrich, Yujin intervened in the battle. Friedrich escaped, and Miss Jiang is safe and sound. Are you saying Yujin, he has returned? After rescuing Friedrich, Shaori immediately arranged for someone to perform surgery on him. You said you urgently needed a surgical assistant, so I came, but I'm a bit confused about whether what we're doing now is right. This patient is Friedrich. Setting aside the duty of a doctor, from an ordinary person's perspective, is saving this terrorist really the right thing to do? We've been kidnapped into their hideout, yet you still have the mind to think about these things. If you still want to go home, focus on doing the surgery. surgery. Just then, Shaori arrived. "How's the situation?" And the doctor replied that everything is normal at the moment. "That's good. Then get started immediately." At this moment, Shaori had brought along another person with her. "You've worked hard, always cleaning up my messes, Linus." The man named Linus silently lowered his head. "It's my honor to follow you. May this help you achieve great deeds." Lord Linus's heart and arm have been received. The transplant surgery will proceed immediately. After the surgery is over, sooner or later I'll settle the score with that guy and give him a proper funeral. Pass down the order. Zodiac, fully assemble everyone. Perhaps because of experiencing a fresh sensation, or because the stale blood was drained, I thought of a more foolproof plan. Friedrich suddenly thought of the words Jong Ui Hyuk said back then. That guy Jong Ui Hyuk, he was right. The times and mages will all change. But I promise, this change will definitely not head in the direction you hope. At this moment, in the city, Jong-un also started trying some things she couldn't try before. The taste isn't as good as I imagined. That's indeed normal coffee. Speaking of which, how's your condition? Very good. I've never felt this comfortable before. I'm so glad you guys are okay too. To be honest, I thought I was going to die back then. I really didn't expect Mr. Eugen's healing magic to be so strong. We were at the emergency room at that time, and Mr. Eugen suddenly barged in. But it's also thanks to him that we survived, even though we were scared to death at the time. But speaking of which, Chief, have you really decided? You're actually retiring. It's so sudden. Like I said, I am no longer a mage now. Naturally, I can't continue taking commissions. We'll need to keep it a secret, informing other people that I need to recover from the after effects of the fight. So it really is true. Although Teacher Eugen said he would help me get my magic back, I don't know how long this process will take. So during this time, I plan to follow Teacher Eugen's advice and enjoy life properly. Although both of them knew how strong Eugen's strength was, thinking that John would also use that bizarre magic in the future still made them somewhat afraid to imagine it. But compared to the John from before who only cared about performance metrics, the current John was clearly much more relaxed than back then. Go Huimiang could clearly feel how much Eugen valued John at that time. Because he couldn't contact the Archmage, he specifically contacted Eugen. Thinking about it now, it was indeed the right decision. I heard you retired. How can this be? It's all because of that bastard Friedrich. The world isn't ready to accept the retirement of the mage John yet. Actually, it's not a complete retirement. I'm recovering while on rehabilitation. Hearing this, the person wanted to come along as well. You reckless girl, what help can an accountant provide by tagging along? Chief's rehabilitation plan will be completed by the Archmage Jong Ui Hyuk's most outstanding disciple. Chief, this is the hat you commissioned us to repair for you. The shape-shifting function and magic coating of this hat have been repaired, but the magic used on the brim is too advanced. With my level it's a bit. This is caused by my insufficient ability. I can only accept it. I am already very thankful to you for repairing it to this extent. Miss Songhua, Miss Yuna, Mr. Taijin, thank you all so much during this time. Thanks to everyone's care, I could focus on my work with peace of mind. Miss Ju Yunhai, actually even if you didn't call me that day, I would still have gone. You don't need to blame yourself too much. Thank you for always worrying about me. And Mr. Go Huimiang for what you did at that time. I won't forget it for the rest of my life. Thanks to you, I could live until now. Everyone has worked hard following the not-so-excellent me. With everyone's abilities, you will definitely shine in better positions playing more important roles. I will also earnestly undergo rehabilitation and return as a mage you can be proud of. In this way, Zhongyun completed her farewells, and she began to look forward to her new life. Although it was a bit vague, Zhongyun felt everything would be solved smoothly, and she no longer needed to agonize over the outcome. Eugen not only fully proved his strength, but also promised to turn Zhongyun into the second greatest Archmage. That was a promise made personally by the Archmage Zhong Ui Hyuk's most outstanding disciple. With this feeling of trust, Zhongyun arrived at Eugen's Magic Academy. However, just as she opened the door, she froze at the entrance. Zhongyun, you're here. Looks like there was no traffic jam. Teacher Eugen, I remember clearly telling you before that my coming here was to be kept a secret. Nice to meet you for the first time. Mage Zhongyun, I often hear Director Eugen mention you. Did you say a lot of things about me? I clearly specifically instructed you to keep it a secret. Don't worry, this is teacher's friend, Detective Kim Sung-hai. She's a very excellent and reliable person, so it's no problem. Teacher Eugen, I'll take my leave first. I just dropped by while I was on duty anyway. Mage Zhongyun, I won't tell anyone else about your heart problem. You don't need to worry too much. I'll just see myself out from here. Before Eugen finished speaking, Zhongyun pinched his mouth shut. Teacher Eugen, what should I do with this mouth? To the outside world, I said I went abroad as the daughter of the Archmage, and at the same time the Mage Zhongyun who caught countless criminals. Now I can't use magic. If word gets out that I'm living in the suburbs of S City, those bad guys hunting me will definitely be very happy. Kim Sung-hai couldn't help but guess that maybe it was because Zhongyun grew up looking at this face since childhood that she didn't feel strange like she did. But knowing someone could be so close to Eugen, he also felt happy for Eugen from the bottom of his heart. Teacher Eugen, it seems you have a guest. This is almost like throwing a welcome party for Zhongyun. So many guests at the academy. How did it turn out like this? Then I'll wait outside first. Call me when you're done. But after Zhongyun finished speaking, she froze. Teacher Eugen, why is your expression like that? Isn't it a bit too much of a pity to hide that pretty face with a hat? Let go right now. You dare to casually casually touch this hat without even knowing who its owner is. Look at this. What a pity. I don't know whose princess this is. How can she be so pretty? Long time no see. I'm so happy to see you again. Hein. Is your health okay? It's you, father. I thought you wouldn't come to a place like this. I'm fine. Precisely because it's a place like this, I should come even more. This is my precious eldest daughter's place to start a new journey. Moreover, this is the academy founded by the disciple I am so proud of. Wouldn't you say? Eugen, the newcomer, was exactly John Nine's father, Eugen's master, the greatest archmage. I heard that you guys have already met Friedrich. That guy still can't let go and keeps causing trouble everywhere. He wasn't like this when he was little. Maybe his rebellious phase came late. Speaking of which, I really have to thank you for this incident. Eugen, thanks to you, John Nine kept her life. Although my daughter is kind and smart, she sometimes acts impulsively. I've always been worried about this. It's truly fortunate to have you as my disciple. At this moment, Eugen kept warning himself that he must endure. At least not here, because John Nine was still here watching. He kept reminding himself to stay calm and pull himself together. I need to hold myself back. This was a situation that would definitely happen, and a situation he would have to face sooner or later. In Eugen's mind, the scene from 14 years ago reappeared, a shattered body, and the heart taken by Jong Ui-hyuk. What a pity. If only we could have reunited over something better than this. The next moment, Eugen could no longer suppress his inner emotions, and he uncontrollably rushed forward. This scene left both Kim Sung-hai and Jong Nine completely stunned on the side. I know I have no right, and I know this is immature behavior, but I really couldn't hold back anymore. I really wanted to see you, but I was afraid you wouldn't want to see me, so I didn't have the courage to go find you directly. Even when you've grown a little taller, you haven't changed at all, because she was the only outsider here. Kim Sung-hai prepared to leave first. However, Jong Ui-hyuk suddenly called out to Detective Kim Sung-hai. I've known of you for a long time. You've always bothered yourself with the safety of the citizens, and you are also a kind-hearted person who takes care of my disciple Eugen. As this child's master, I express my gratitude to you. You're too polite. I'll take my leave first. Kim Sung-hai truly couldn't believe that these two faces were actually master and disciple. Have you lost your magic power, Hein? Is that why you came to Eugen, this child, for help? If you encounter such a difficult problem, you could have discussed it with Dad first. Jong-un tried to explain, but was interrupted by her father. Of course you can trust Uncle Eugen. He is Dad's most trusted disciple. Maybe his help will be even greater than Dad's. Dad will chat with Eugen for a while and be right back. Before entrusting Jong-un to him, we need to have a parent-teacher meeting first. Please wait a moment. After Jong Ui-hyuk finished speaking, the two disappeared. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised. I took your heart, tore your whole body to pieces, and even threw them into the rifts between dimensions. I didn't expect you to actually come back alive. You always exceed my imagination. Just what kind of miracle did you experience? Eugen began a long-winded explanation but was interrupted by Jong Ui-hyuk. Actually, I'm more curious about something else. I want to ask you, don't you hate me? From the day Master saved me from when I was on the verge of death, or rather, all the days I spent together with Master, every single day. To me, living for Master was the sole purpose of my life. How could I possibly hate Master? For whatever you need, I can still gladly die for you again. Hearing this, Jong Ui-hyuk just smiled silently. No matter how I think about it, as expected of you, Eugen, if you can still go to such lengths for me, if I propose that plan again, what would you do? I already said it 14 years ago. That plan, it's extremely, terribly creepy. Although I can do anything that helps Master, but not this plan. Forget it, it's fine. I've already been rejected twice. If I hear another lecture, it'll only be more embarrassing. Since that day, I've already given up and can only adopt the backup plan. Speaking of which, the more I look at this thing, the more surprising it is. How is it possible that you are triggering this phenomenon without any magic power? You survived an obviously certain death situation. It's also thanks to this, right? You mean this? It's named ringless magic. Even people who have no mana, or whose mana is too weak to use magic, as long as they study hard, they can also use magic through this system. I want to make Jong-un my first student and teach her this set of ringless magic. I will help Jong-un use this ringless magic to become an archmage. When magic apprentices who idolize the archmage Jong-un appear, I will be able to cultivate many kind and capable mages willing to dedicate themselves to the world. This will protect people's happy lives and hopes for the future, building a world full of kind and gentle magic. This is my dream. If this dream can be realized, Master, you won't need to execute that plan. What a vague, general, and optimistic dream. Very much like a choice you would make. It's quite good. Say what you will. Ultimately, you don't approve of my plan. I understand, Eugen. I'll leave Jong-un to you. Teach her well and train her into an archmage. Even if you don't help me execute the plan, as long as you don't hinder me, I will support your dream. It's just a bit regrettable. You made me have genuine expectations of you, yet you made me feel genuinely disappointed. You're the only one to make the archmage Jong Ui-hyuk waver to such a degree. Teacher, or rather Jong-un's dad, I only have one request. Jong-un will become another great archmage following her father. That expectation you once had for me, please transfer it exactly as it is to Jong-un instead. Meanwhile, Jong-un was boredly staring at the hat in her hand in a daze. The moment the two reappeared, she immediately stood up excitedly. Because I haven't seen Uncle Eugen in a long time, we chatted a bit long. Jong-un, it's been 14 years since you could use magic, right? As your dad, I really couldn't bear to see you risking your life to accumulate merits just to meet my expectations. I just hope you can find the dream you truly want to realize as a mage. It's not like that. Jong-un just wanted to explain, but was hugged tightly by Jong Ui-hyuk. Before Jong-un became the outstanding disciple of the Archmage Jong Ui-hyuk, she was already Dad's most beloved eldest daughter. No matter what goal you set, how much effort you put in, or what results you reap, please remember this fact that will never change. I hope you can find a goal worth going all out for. I understand. I will work hard. Director Yujin, please take good care of our Jong-un from now on. Leave it to me. Jong-un's father. Recalling Jong Ui-hyuk's words just now, Jong-un kept secretly rejoicing inside. Then next, let's talk about the issue of tuition fees. Regarding the course schedule Jong-un needs. Please look here. Wait a minute. You're going to take money? Of course. After all, you are enrolling in the academy. Jong-un began to complain. Didn't you say you wanted to help? You made it sound like you'd teach for free. Yujin continued. I even prepared a personal exclusive course just for Jong-un. If I don't even collect tuition fees, the other students will feel it's unfair. Compared to other places, this price is already very cheap. Dad will help you pay for it, so there's no need to worry. No need. I'm fine, Dad. I'm already 22 and an adult. Plus I have income when I work. I should pay the tuition myself. Our Jong-un is considered an adult now too. You've turned out so impressive now. Jong-un suddenly recalled her business before coming here. It turns out that she took care of all the financial issues for her department. She even used her personal savings in order to cleanly pay off everything needed. Jong-un said it was necessary so their careers won't be tarnished as a thanks for working with her. She felt like she needed to do this for her and her father's reputation. However, it turns out that she needed to sell her house and change to a minimal lifestyle to achieve this. At the time, she thanked that her uncle Yujin wasn't the type to demand for tuition. Back to the present, Jong-un was crying tears of poverty. Let's work hard together. Dad will cheer for you too, my daughter. Just then, Jong Ui-hyuk received a call. You said Zodiac? I'll go confirm it. Kids, I'm really sorry. Let's eat together next time. It seems something happened. I need to hurry over and take a look. What a pity. Next time I'll find a good restaurant we can go to together. Get along well and mind your health. Contact me anytime you need anything. Yujin and Jong-un. See you next time. After Jong Ui-hyuk finished speaking, he used magic to leave the place. He can clearly teleport, yet he drove here. Teacher occasionally has such a quirky side too. Let's go eat lunch together. Does Jong-un still like eating tteokbokki now? If it's cheap then it's fine. Because of unexpected expenses, I can't afford expensive ones anymore. Teacher will pay for the meal. Don't worry about money. Let's talk while we eat. The preparation plan to train our Jong-un into an archmage. There was originally a nice snack bar underneath the Yujin Magic Academy, but less than 2 weeks after I rented the upstairs, that shop closed. Anyway, Jong-un previously learned combat magic, right? Don't talk while you're eating. Also, don't call me by my name outside from now on. But yes, what I learned was indeed combat magic. Although I don't like fighting, learning combat magic is the fastest way to improve magical ability, because combat mages can experience those combat scenarios that force you to push your magical application and judgment to the limit. That's what I wanted. That is true. After all, most of those mages with outstanding magical strength either come from combat magic majors or are doubling as combat mages. If possible, teacher really doesn't want to use such a dangerous method to teach you, but teacher also created ringless magic under such extreme circumstances. Teacher will always be by your side to protect you, so let's learn and practice within a controllable range. Regarding that ringless magic, can you explain it in more detail? How do you practice it, and why can it make me an archmage? Let's talk slowly on the way. Regarding the essence of ringless magic, it is actually the technique of linking your consciousness to deform and reconstruct all substances and phenomena that can be perceived and touched. Once you master this technique, not only your own body, but even the objects you touch, their properties, forms, and mass can be changed at will. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would definitely think it's a lie. I can't guess the principle at all. And without using mana, how is it possible to do such a thing? Although it's called perceiving and touching, it can't be done with ordinary senses. It requires some prerequisites to be achieved. The first prerequisite required is to perceive realms beyond ordinary perception. It is to have a scientific understanding of the structure and properties of all things in the world. First is the simplest step. Perfectly memorize all the knowledge in these books. Just simple memorization is fine. It shouldn't be that hard, right? Jong-un was dumbfounded when she saw those book titles: Molecular Material Structure, Thermodynamics, and Human Anatomy. These were clearly books that scientists, researchers, and doctors would study. Even professionals wouldn't memorize such ridiculously thick books entirely, right? And several books are even in different languages. Although Jong-un had previously memorized books on the magical structures of different attributes and the construction of mana circuits, these were now completely beyond the professional scope. Yujin then added, giving you 2 weeks should be enough, right? 2 weeks? Just 14 days? Yujin continued, I know Jong-un wants to enter practical training quickly too, but I still hope you proceed steadily from the first step. I was about 6 years old when I first saw this. I really missed the days of studying these books. Jong-un finally realized that Yujin truly thought memorizing all this stuff was extremely easy. She finally knew how big the gap was between her father's most outstanding disciple and herself. Although she had had thought there would be a gap early on. Now thoroughly understanding it, she realized Eugen's terrifying nature. It took me 3 weeks at the time, but I think if it's my teacher's daughter, 2 weeks should be enough. Of course, I am the daughter of the Archmage Manhwa. For just this much plain memorization, I even think 2 weeks is too long. However, right after saying it, Jong-un regretted it a bit. Having motivation is a good thing, but don't be too impatient. As long as you earnestly follow the course teacher carefully designed and learn step by step steadily, becoming an Archmage will take roughly 27 years and 7 months. Hearing this, Jong-un was dumbfounded. 27 years was still too far away for her. She couldn't help but feel that her expectations for Eugen's bizarre magic were still too high. However, of all previous Archmages, not a single one reached this realm within 100 years. Even the greatest Archmage Manhwa took hundreds of years. Because the goal was too vague, Jong-un had never considered how long it would take. 27 years was already an extremely short time. After all, an Archmage wasn't that easy to become. Jong-un then spoke up. If I just want to recover my original magical level, how long will it take? Eugen asked what level it was, so Jong-un answered it was the highest grade of Sorcerer Tier Combat Mage, only one step away from Mystic Tier. However, Eugen had not heard of the level classifications Jong-un mentioned, but considering his status as a teacher, he decided not to let her know that he didn't know it and take the time later to properly look it up. Originally, I planned to proceed to the next step after you Jong-un memorized all those books entirely, but I suddenly felt learning while familiarizing in advance is also good. After all, being completely unable to use the magic you've always used handily, you must be uneasy, right? Before you proficiently master ringless magic, besides training perception, I will also teach you a method to still use magic even when there is no mana in your body. Let's go find a partner that can serve as a pseudo-mana source for you. About 14 years ago, I had a similar experience in another dimension. At that time, due to an accident, my physical condition wasn't very good. I accidentally arrived in that dimension while floating in the dimensional rift on the brink of death. I gained inspiration from the characteristics of the natives of that dimension and received their help. I only saved my life after inventing ringless magic. The natives of that dimension are fairies. At least that's how they are classified. Now I am going to open the dimensional portal to the fairy realm. Do you remember teacher's precautions? Absolutely do not let go of the rope. Absolutely do not fall asleep. Just look straight ahead and walk forward. Alright, then I will start. As Eugen spoke, the scar on his neck changed again. This was ringless magic. Fairy realm dimensional portal. Even seeing it with her own eyes, Jong-un still found it hard to believe. Setting aside the fact of casting magic without mana, dimensional portal magic required over 10 mages possessing top-tier wisdom and mana working together to cast, and it required investing national-level budget funds to barely maintain a supreme-tier magic for a few minutes. Yet the Eugen in front of her actually rubbed it out bare-handed just like that. Hold tightly onto this thing. As long as you report my name, there shouldn't be any problems. Really, as long as I go in and report teacher Eugen's name, they will help. Eugen answered, of course. Teacher is super familiar with the fairy residence over there. This jacket teacher usually wears is also a gift received from there. I know you will be scared, and making you go alone makes me really sorry, but to maintain the stability of the dimensional portal, I really can't go with you. Jong-un reassured him. Since teacher says it's fine, then it definitely is fine. What's there to be afraid of? I'll go and return quickly. After Jong-un finished speaking, she jumped down. This child is too bold. At this moment, Eugen did not notice that a group of people was staring at him. I heard even Jong-un was defeated by that monster, and in the end her company closed down and she could only flee abroad to take refuge. They are actually saying that Friedrich fought Jong-un, lost, and then ran away. Even if making up lies, make it look a bit more realistic. No matter how strong she is, how could she be the opponent of the strongest mage? As long as we catch that monster, we can wash away the shame of that day, and at the same time eliminate my inferiority complex toward that woman. Director Choi Isuk, that man named Eugen hasn't been put on the wanted list by the association and the police yet. How is this any different from assaulting an innocent person? You actually say he's an innocent person? How many times do I have to say it before you understand? You haven't faced that monster up close yet, so you simply don't understand that his terror is not just his appearance. That guy's existence is a threat to the entire world. Although it counts as magic, it's also a terrifying phenomenon that cannot be defined by magic. Even until now, I still suffer from insomnia all night because of the memories of that time. It's not like I want to ambush that guy because I like it. To prevent innocent citizens from encountering the terrifying situation I experienced, we must preemptively subdue that temporarily dormant monster before it inevitably causes a disaster. Haven't we combat mages always been taught that this is an obligation we must keep in mind at all times? If it's truly as director says, and that guy named Eugen defeated Jong-un, although it's very unwilling to admit, this is probably not an opponent we can handle. That guy must be at least a sorcerer tier combat mage, right? Just because you got scared by that guy once, you're dispirited. When you guys were defeated by Jong-un back then, it was because you rushed up head on that you lost. If it's a sneak attack fully prepared, and we possess experience and information about the opponent, even facing a mage with a massive strength gap, there is still a possibility of winning. Are the countermeasures for regenerative magic beasts you learned in Northern Europe prepared? prepared? I spent a lot of money on you. Director Choi, please rest assured, this is magic specifically developed to capture magic beasts that can regenerate even if shattered into 100 pieces, let alone an opponent relying on human magic to regenerate. I trust you. Everyone put on the necessary enhancement buffs first. Remember your respective positions and tasks. We will start acting immediately. Choi Isuk fantasized that after dealing with the mistake of the Archmage Jong Ui Hyuk, the status of the academy he founded would also significantly rise in the association. Meanwhile, a question also arose in Jong-ein's heart. Are these really fairies? At this moment, Jong-ein was surrounded by a massive horde of monsters, let alone fairies. This was absolutely not the so-called realm Yujin spoke of. Being among the monster horde, Jong-ein constantly warned herself that she must stay calm. Although these strange things almost filled all the space, she did not feel excessive oppressive force, nor did it affect her breathing. Jong-ein recalled the precautions Yujin told her. Absolutely do not let go of the rope. Absolutely do not fall asleep. Keep moving forward. The rope in her hand was the only tie connecting the original world and this world. Jong-un somewhat regretted not tying it directly to her wrist back then. She found her movements were not hindered, so what she needed to do now was muster her spirit and keep moving forward until fairies capable of communication appeared. While walking among these strange creatures, Jong-un felt like she was walking in jelly, but soon, she felt a strange sensation. Although she could still breathe, the more she breathed, the more nauseous she felt, and her head began to grow dizzy. These things that looked like creatures didn't seem to cause any harm, but they constantly emitted a buzzing whisper. It sounded like talking, making her feel very uncomfortable. However, even if these creatures suddenly made dangerous moves, Jong-un had no way to respond, so she could only follow Yujin's instructions and keep walking forward. Just then, Jong-un no longer knew where she was, or which way was forward. I can't take it anymore. My brain isn't working. I can't fall asleep. I clearly promised. Jong-un suddenly felt that her body seemed to be slowly melting. Her consciousness grew increasingly blurry. She no longer remembered whether she was still holding onto that rope. After subconsciously calling Yujin's name, Jong-un completely lost consciousness. Meanwhile, on the roof, Yujin couldn't help but laugh out loud. While waiting for Jong-un, he couldn't resist scrolling through videos online again. The Academy's promotional video needs to be made this interesting too, so more people will watch it. Just as Yujin prepared to ask Jong-un about it after she came out, his head was blown apart by a fireball. He instinctively wanted to raise his hand to counterattack, but thinking of Jong-un, he immediately pressed his hand back down. I almost caused a huge disaster, but at this moment, Choi Isuk had already rushed in front of Yujin. He did not hold back at all, directly using a spell to completely smash Yujin into the ground. After a successful hit, Choi Isuk immediately distanced himself. How have you been recently? I've been unable to sleep night after night because of you, but starting from today, I should be able to sleep peacefully. I thought it was Director Choi Isuk throwing a tantrum, but now looking closely, a hair-raising feeling and unease penetrate the skin, gnawing at every nerve. Obviously, the guy in front of us is a monster that must be erased from this world. Yujin was also somewhat curious why Choi Isuk couldn't sleep because of him, and clearly the misunderstanding had been cleared up, so why was he still acting like this? But soon, the smart Yujin knew the reason. When he first started learning magic, Yujin once asked Jong Ui Hyuk a question. To use such practical and highly efficient magic, do we really need such a complicated and troublesome approval process? If the control is so strict, those researches and inventions that can benefit the world will probably be severely hindered. This is indeed a difficult problem. Those magics that can have a huge impact on the world, such as dimensional movement or summoning magic, would indeed help solve dangerous situations or accelerate the development of magic. However, if people were allowed to freely use this kind of magic without the association's approval, then we also have to consider that human malice without oversight is a bottomless pit. Precisely because of this, if we want to use magic to exert a positive influence, we need corresponding authority and the recognition of many people. Yujin, having me, this Archmage, as your guarantor, you temporarily don't need to worry, but to prevent situations where I can't help you, you need to continuously accumulate reputation and prestige so that everyone can trust you with peace of mind. So Yujin felt that Choi Isuk brought these people all because he used dimensional portal magic without approval. Therefore, Yujin felt somewhat guilty. You are Director Choi Isuk, right? I will accept the corresponding punishment for this rash behavior, but if I stop the magic now, I will fall into a very troublesome predicament. During Yujin's explanation, Ching Tai had already completed the preparation for the Turing complex magic. Please wait a moment, let me explain first. Yujin realized they were truly angry as the attack magic came. He felt from the bottom of his heart that Director Choi Isuk was a good, law-abiding person, but right now he still had to find a way to solve the difficult problem at hand. Director Choi Isuk, please calm down first. Please listen to the reason why I am doing this. But before Yujin could finish speaking, his arm was severed by magic. He couldn't help but sigh that the law enforcement by mages nowadays was a bit too aggressive. Even though those people knew he wouldn't get hurt, this was still a bit much. However, since it was his fault first, Yujin planned to use magic to restore his arm first. Only then did he realize that his severed arm actually couldn't come back. Very tricky, isn't it? Can't calm down anymore. This is a recovery blocking magic my proud disciple learned from Northern Northern European monster hunters. This is a high-level magic that can block all recovery effects of creatures or even inorganic matter driven by mana. Your sickening regenerative magic is now completely nullified. Eugen realized that this is a simplified version of the recovery-blocking magic Master used on him when he was confronted alone earlier. Although the structure is much simpler and the performance is a bit worse, this is a well-organized magic that anyone can use. Normally, Eugen could completely destroy this magic by appropriately using ringless magic. But right now, in order to maintain the dimensional portal, a vast majority of his brain's computing power was already occupied. In case the magic was interrupted, or if he couldn't continue maintaining it, then the only tie between Zhao and this world would be completely broken. If that happened, it would really be troublesome. Director Choi, I earnestly entreat you, this is not for my safety. To his surprise, Choi Isuk didn't want to listen to Eugen's words at all. Everyone, attack. He's a monster that won't die even if chopped to pieces. Use maximum firepower to blast him to ash. Everyone, wait a minute. Can you let me finish my sentence? At least not the head and hands. Unfortunately, the instant he finished speaking, magic flew from all directions. Meanwhile, Zhao seemed to hear someone calling her nearby. When she regained consciousness, she realized those strange creatures had all gathered around. It is truly fortunate. You finally woke up. In order to force you to adapt and to translate, I had to adjust your brain without permission. Visitor, if you lose consciousness in this world without adapting, you would be devoured by space itself. And that rope, you almost lost it just now. This is a rope you must use when going back. I called out for quite a while and no one answered me. I was almost disappointed. I didn't expect it to actually be a lost person who drifted here without any preparation. Zhao only then realized that the faint whispers just now was indeed talking to her. It had been by her side the whole time, yet because of its appearance, she completely didn't realize this was a highly intelligent creature capable of communication. Thank you, but I didn't wander here by mistake. It was Teacher Eugen who helped me come in. I heard that if I came here, I could get help from Teacher Eugen's friends. Eugen? Are you talking about Eugen right now? Is it that Eugen? Did Eugen really send you? Saying it like that, it indeed has Eugen sent for someone to be able to come here. Hearing them continuously repeat Eugen's name, Zhao was also somewhat surprised. Without a doubt, they in front of her definitely knew Eugen, but this was a crazy reaction. Take her away. Before Zhao could react, she was dragged away at high speeds. However, Zhao was somewhat curious why they had this reaction. What did you just say? Eugen and we are friends? That's truly a huge misunderstanding. If you had experienced those things, you couldn't possibly not know that Eugen is. Never mind. You better hear it for yourself. We have arrived. Prepare to offer your blessings. This is our queen, our mother. What was in front of Zhao was actually an eyeball-shaped creature. She couldn't help but wonder, does Eugen not know what a fairy is? Director Choi, my magic is clearly operating normally, and the regeneration of the severed parts has also been completely blocked. But that, I have completely no idea how to deal with it either. I'm not even sure if the block is really effective. Just what exactly are we fighting against right now? Eugen felt things were awkward. He finally managed to keep his head in hand, but in his current state, maintaining the dimensional portal over there was too strenuous, so he could only pray that Zhao would return quickly from that world. No time to hesitate. Don't let this creepy feeling go to your head. Do you understand? How could that appearance possibly be a normal state? He's about to be finished very soon. Although I don't know what that hole is, it is shrinking little by little. Then I will be the one to finish this. This guy didn't make any counterattacks until he was almost finished, only guarding that suspicious crater. Although I don't know what that is, I completely don't want to know. It goes without saying, he must definitely be preparing some evil and terrifying magic, right? If it wasn't something so important, there's no reason to guard it until it turned into this state. Do you know how much anxiety you have brought to the local citizens simply by your existence? Everyone instinctively sensed your evil. The unease and fear you brought to the citizens, along with the frustration you brought me, will all be settled here together. I will completely finish you off right here, and then send you to the association's judgment stand. Director Choi Isuk, I won't defend myself. I fully recognize my mistakes, and I will sincerely accept the punishment I deserve. I just hope you can give me a little time. I will bring her back immediately. I absolutely won't delay. What are you going to bring back? Don't try any funny business. Choi Isuk told himself internally that everything was over, but at this time, he found that Eugen's body was actually stuck to his sword. What's going on here? Wasn't it perfectly fine just now? Eugen also knew that Choi Isuk was upholding the association system, but right now Zhao hadn't come out yet, and he had no other way, so even if he had to risk it all, he had to hold on. On the other side, the queen of that dimension also spoke up. Did Eugen send you over? The queen in front of her was much larger than all the magical creatures Zhao had ever seen before. Are you Eugen's bloodline? I am not his blood relative. I am just his disciple. Eugen's aura is so strong on you, so that's how it is. You finally decided to do this. Speaking of which, you just said friends. Is that how Eugen refers to us? So that's how he's seen us all along. Zhao couldn't help but feel a bit scared. It didn't look like they were friends with Eugen at all. Zhao felt that Eugen must have made some mistake and angered them, and without realizing this at all, Eugen sent her over. Please calm down. To us, to this world, Eugen is our one and only savior. Toward that savior who risked his life to save our world, our feelings have long surpassed friendship. Isn't it gratitude gratitude and awe that cannot be expressed in words. As Eugen's disciple, you are naturally an extremely precious guest to us. I officially welcome you here. Relax. Don't be afraid. He didn't come with you. He must be busy helping others over there, right? Is Eugen doing okay? If we knew Eugen sent you, we definitely would have hosted you more grandly, because he made a sacrifice and granted us grace that we cannot repay in a lifetime. Seeing them like this, Jong-un couldn't help but wonder what exactly Eugen had done in this dimension. You are Eugen's disciple. Tell us your purpose for coming. Why did you come here? It's like this. Due to some reasons, I cannot use magic right now. I heard that if I say I was sent by teacher Eugen here, I can get something that will help me use magic. The queen responded, are you talking about that thing Eugen created and used based on our characteristics? Very well, I will help you. Let one of my children return to your original world with you. With Eugen's help, it will solve the problem you are facing right now. Before Jong-un could say thank you, they all went crazy. Let me go with you. This is an opportunity to go to that world and reunite with Eugen. Take me. I will help you with all my heart. My abilities will give you the biggest help. I also want to go see Eugen. Jong-un couldn't help but feel that Eugen was like an idol in this dimension. Rather than helping her, they wanted to go see teacher Eugen more. Barring any surprises, these fairies were the source of inspiration for ringless magic. Just looking at their appearances, every single one feels super strong. So Jong-un felt that before her magic recovered, they could definitely be of great use. Although these fairies didn't look like much, as long as she could use magic again, Jong-un felt she could accept it. Just as she was considering who to choose, Eugen's voice came from the rope in her hand. We have to go back quickly. Big trouble is happening over here. While waiting for Jong-un, teacher was maintaining the dimensional portal and watching videos. Eugen? Is it really Eugen? Hearing this, the rope with eyes and mouth confirmed that it was. Those clothes you gave me were a fit perfectly. I like them very much. I'm truly very sorry that I haven't contacted everyone in a long time. I should have come to see everyone personally, but I have to hurry and take Jong-un back. Do we have to go back right now? I haven't decided who to take back yet. You don't need to choose, the queen said as she handed a fairy to Jong-un. Just take this child with you. Before Jong-un could speak, the queen directly sent the fairy she selected into Jong-un's body. I'm really sorry. It's too urgent this time. Let's leave Jong-un's greetings for next time we come. At this moment, all of the fairies gave their farewell. Remember to come visit often. Mother, even so, is it really necessary to go this far? I respect your choice, Eugen. Although by human standards, this doesn't seem to be a convincing choice. Eugen, it's just because you are that kind of person, a fool for justice. I beg you, successor of Jong Ui-hyuk's legacy, become a pillar you can both rely on. What's going on? Why did my hand turn like this? It didn't hurt at all. No wonder this guy had been standing there taking hits. Defensive magic and regeneration blocking magic had long since failed, and Choi Isuk and his group couldn't block any attack magic anymore. In his view, although Jong-un hadn't defeated Eugen either, considering he brought so many people, it shouldn't be to the point of having no power to fight back like this. He couldn't help but wonder, before becoming a mage, was Eugen really human? Because of his own inferiority complex and fear, Choi Isuk's disciples were now in danger. Director Choi, the situation doesn't seem to have developed as you predicted. What is that thing? Get out of the way. That's something you guys can't touch. I'll go rescue those trapped people. You guys concentrate your mana on the touring magic here. I'll handle the aftermath. You don't need to worry. I'm sorry, kids. Just because you cooperated with the stubbornness of your useless master, I ended up causing you to fall into this state. On the other side, the remaining people also began preparing the touring magic Choi Isuk mentioned. It's over. Everyone fall back. Everyone get down. Those who can open shields, open them quickly. Choi Isuk didn't expect this magic to directly kill Eugen. As long as it could temporarily seal him, it would be enough. However, just as he was about to release the magic, Eugen returned with Jong-un. Teacher Eugen, since you were going to send me to such a ridiculous environment, at least you should have explained it properly in advance. Because it was an unfamiliar environment, she must have been very panicked. What exactly happened to make it so urgent? You are Jong-un. How could you come out of that kind of place? I heard you went abroad. Why are you with Eugen? Director Choi Isuk. Actually, I should have explained it to you earlier. Jong-un lost her mana and cannot use magic right now, so I recruited Jong-un into my academy, wanting to teach her the ringless magic I created that can be used without mana. Because Jong-un was anxious to use magic again, I sent her to the fairies in another dimension where I previously stayed to seek help, but I actually forgot that dimensional portal magic is regulated magic. I am truly sorry. After Eugen finished speaking, he collapsed. Just at this time, the sound of police sirens rang downstairs at Eugen's academy. Teacher Eugen, what happened? We received a report that a severe disturbance occurred in the academy building. When Kim Sun-hai came over, he found a large group of people standing here, while Eugen was lying on the ground sleeping soundly. Jong-un silently took off her hat. Her whereabouts were completely exposed, and on her head was precisely the fairy she brought back from that dimension. It was unknown how much time had passed when Eugen finally opened his eyes. You're awake? Go look at the situation over there and figure out how to deal with it. Because of teacher Eugen, it's been a total mess just now, and my head is spinning. Wait for me a moment. Jong-un, there's no evidence whatsoever. It's all based on my intuition, but a first-class mage's intuition is different from an ordinary person's. Teacher Eugen, are you alright? However, Eugen claimed that he would turn himself in. You two came together to arrest me because I used used the regulated dimensional portal magic without authorization, right? I was too rash. I will willingly accept any punishment. After Eugen extended his hands, time seemed to be paused. Shortly after, they finally cleared up the misunderstanding. Is it all because of my looks? You guys are really something too. Even if he has an unforgettable face, you can't gather so many people and use those large-scale lethal magics here. Fortunately, Teacher Eugen is not someone who gets hurt easily. Because of the privileges of the Magic Association, has the law in Korea become so ridiculous? Aggravated assault and attempted murder. This has already crossed the red line of the law. Let's get straight to the point. That guy is no longer human. As a combat mage, I sensed the danger of that monster long ago. I just wanted to eliminate it before innocent citizens got hurt. What's wrong with that? Don't you have your intuition as a police officer? Even if it has acted harmlessly in front of you up to now, can you say that the first time you saw it, you didn't treat it with prejudice? Exactly as Choi Suk said. The first time Kim Sung-hai met Eugen, she fired her gun without hesitation. Police comrades, you work day and night to protect the safety of the citizens. It's truly hard work. I also brought this magically wanted criminal here. Where should I put him? Recalling those events, Kim Sung-hai also felt somewhat embarrassed. In any case, as long as Teacher Eugen confirms the facts of the victimization, we will arrest all these people for the crimes just mentioned. Teacher Eugen, what do you plan to do? So it was my looks. Eugen mumbled softly while falling into deep thought. After a short while, he let out a long sigh and then issued a bizarre laugh. For a moment, everyone felt a bit creeped out. Teacher Eugen, are you alright? Sorry about that. This is the first time I've encountered this kind of situation. Although it's quite a headache, for this matter. Just let these people go. Seeing this terrifying expression, both Choi Suk and Kim Sung-hai felt a chill down their spines from fear. I did indeed do some things that easily caused misunderstandings before. Just like Director Choi Suk said, it's understandable that you would feel a sense of crisis because of this. It seems my looks make you very uncomfortable. Relax. Director Choi, you don't need to feel that threatened. Director Choi Suk, your appearance is also very outstanding. Students nowadays are just too frivolous, actually wanting to transfer schools just based on the instructor's appearance. You are handsome enough. Have confidence. Since it's come to this, let's take this opportunity to exchange contact information. Although there were various misunderstandings before, isn't this also a kind of fate? Let's keep in touch as peers. Besides, the academies aren't far apart. We can often eat and drink coffee together, and we can also exchange experiences in student education and management. How great is that? Choi Suk couldn't help but look at Kim Sung-hai with tears in his eyes. Right at this moment, Choi Suk's students came in front of Jong-ein. Didn't you say you weren't going to be a mage anymore? I heard you went abroad to recuperate after a fierce battle with Friedrich. So this is the abroad you spoke of. Friedrich is just an excuse, right? You actually left us behind to challenge that mage named Eugen alone, and the result is you can't even use magic now. Your current situation is really pathetic enough. What on earth can that mage named Eugen teach? Setting aside those suspicious magics, at least he should properly teach you some manners. If news gets out that Jong-un lost her mana and is still staying in Korea, Teacher Eugen, everyone here is interested in Teacher Eugen's academy courses. What nonsense are you talking about? In this way, Choi Suk took his students and fled the place in a pathetic state. Jong-un guessed that after the news spread, those guys would definitely not sit idly by. Next, a whole bunch of troubles would surely come knocking at the door. She couldn't help but wonder, could Teacher Eugen solve those troubles all by himself? So many things really happened today. I don't have much energy right now. I originally wanted to tell you today about the preparations we need to do after coming back from the fairy realm. The current Jong-un already understood who the biggest troublemaker around her was. Eugen was caught completely off guard as Jong-un grabbed his chin to shut him up. Might as well let this matter spread all over the streets and alleys. It's only been a few hours. I told you not to tell others I can't use magic, yet this mouth of yours is a troublemaker, and of all people, Director Choi Suk had to find out. I was afraid Director Choi would misunderstand if I didn't explain the situation clearly at the time. Plus I just got on good terms with Director Choi. He will definitely help me keep it a secret. Jong-un continued to complain. However, it just made Eugen more confused. I'm a bit tired. Let's call it a day. I still have other things to do tomorrow morning, so I'll come look for you afternoon. Eugen suddenly felt that telling Jong-un tomorrow about that thing the fairy realm queen told him to bring back together shouldn't be a problem. Eugen couldn't help but sigh. Today was truly a day where a ton of things happened. Not only did he see his master after a long time, Jong-un also joined his academy, and he even made an interesting friend like Director Choi Suk. He must contact him often in the future. Now as long as the academy operations and Jong-un's courses are prepared, there shouldn't be any problems. May this world I love have a few more mages who warm others with gentle magic. Starting tomorrow, study hard with Teacher Jong-un. It's all that idiot Teacher Eugen's fault. Look what it's turned into now. The news has spread. I'm dying of embarrassment. What should I do? How did things get this tricky? The scene shifted to Friedrich's side. When do you plan to send us home? We were suddenly snatched away, and even finished the surgery for Friedrich according to their demands. There is absolutely nothing left for us to do here now, right? I don't know either. You are very close to the Archmage Jong Ui Hyuk, right? Why can't you contact him and ask him to save us? What exactly did you teach? Setting aside those bizarre magics and appearance, I feel like I encountered something that shouldn't exist in this world. My whole body is getting goosebumps. You remember when we went to assassinate the great demon king together, right? Even that overwhelming oppressive feeling at that time wasn't as uncomfortable as him. In the instant he walked past the man, Friedrich casually used a spell. You really don't know how precious medical mages are. Do you think anyone can use such useful support magic? Who told that kid to have such a foul mouth? I'll send you two back. Meanwhile, Friedrich continued his conversation on the phone. I'll ask you one more time. He is your disciple, right? Of course. He is my unprecedented, and there will never be another in the future, most proud and outstanding disciple. Actually, I also just met him, and I'm on my way back now. Now I finally understand why you were so panicked back then. He is extending his life using a very genius method. He is currently in a state that theoretically shouldn't exist in this world, forcibly maintaining his life using a method completely different from demonic arts and necromancy. For ordinary people, just staying near him will make them feel nauseous and want to vomit due to fear and disgust. Even combat mages accustomed to fighting, when encountering his defense mechanism, are very likely to subconsciously launch lethal magic. The more intense the confrontation and the longer the hostility is maintained, the more their judgment will blur because of this undeniable existence, and their survival instinct will be extremely stimulated. This damn guy. But regardless, that guy gave me a very fresh stimulation. Thanks to you, I even corrected those stubborn habits of being like a block of wood. I even thought of an unprecedentedly brand new idea. Just wait and see. Before long, you will see my declaration of war. Whether for mages or non-mages, this will become the fanfare of a new era that everyone will never forget. This guy actually hung up first himself. Then let's start too. Anyway, he just acts like a good guy and plays generous in front of others, but is only so impolite to me. Isn't it just because I didn't treat him as a senior decades ago, and he's still throwing a tantrum until now? Absolutely do not disturb me. This matter is very difficult. With the exception of Linus, Zodiac full assembly. I know everyone is busy with their respective tasks, but I have a matter that must be said face to face. Destroy this suffocating ideal garden built by Jong Ui Hyuk. In order to create a world where magic serves mages, to completely change the world, we must kill the unkillable Jong Ui Hyuk. Speaking of which, I recently had a fresh experience. I paid a huge price to finally understand that this world has completely changed. I only then realized anew how ridiculous those things I had always set as goals and prepared for were. I want to pursue a greater dream, even if I have to use more radical methods. It doesn't matter, because now, I finally have the ability to do it. Let's finish off Jong Ui Hyuk first. Meanwhile, in a different location, what era is it? Still doing assembly orders. They are saying we're going to kill the Archmage. This is too absurd. Without a doubt, the members of Zodiac were very dissatisfied with Friedrich. This idea indeed subverted common sense. So do you have a method? Could you share it with us? If it can really be done, then there's nothing to be afraid of regarding those guys in the association either. Anyway, the mages on the association side are no different from walking corpses. As long as we get rid of that Jong Ui Hyuk who messes things up everywhere, it's finally our Zodiacs. It's finally your era, sir. Hearing this, Friedrich couldn't help but laugh. My era? Ha! Just not long ago, I was still dreaming this kind of dream. A world ruled by the power of mages. Looking back, that goal seems to be an overly compromised goal made while taking Jong Ui Hyuk's existence into consideration. Whatever you guys want to do afterwards, I don't care anymore. Indulge however you want, cause chaos however you want. I guarantee that Jong Ui Hyuk's hair-raising, disgusting, and dangerous ambition will never again threaten our choices in future. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to Jong Nine's side. I really can't stand it anymore. How come this face hasn't changed at all from childhood to adulthood? Your dad raised you too well. It can't be helped. The perception interfering magic on the hat has its limits too. If someone is determined to find you, Jong Nine, even from far away, they can recognize you at a glance. By the way, how does it look to you? About my heart's condition. Although teacher Eugen said there's no problem, I thought I'd definitely have to let teacher Cecilia take a look. I've checked as carefully as possible. Aside from the shape being twisted quite cutely, it seems to have absolutely no problems functionally. Such a healthy and lively state is also rare. It's totally top tier level. Can a heart without even a trace of mana left also be called top tier level? For a human heart, it is indeed top tier level. Eugen disappeared for over a decade, and then showing up now. Just what kind of magic did you come up with again? The surgery he performed on you is extremely intricate. To be honest, even I wouldn't have been confident. There is a wall separating me and him. It's called ringless magic. It's said to be magic he developed himself that doesn't use mana. He said he wants to teach me, and starting today I'll be learning it too. However, teacher Cecilia doubted. Ringless magic and it doesn't use mana? Sounds like a scammer, but since it's Eugen, then I have no choice but to believe it. It turns out that it was Cecilia that performed surgery on Friedrich. Even if the flesh and bone were completely tangled together, the nerves and blood vessels could still operate normally. Additionally, throw away all the heart mana stabilizers you've been taking. You don't need to take them now. Your heart condition is very good. You can do whatever you want. You can drink coffee as you please too. Can a doctor say such things? Then if any problems arise, I'll contact you later. Although Jong Ein's heart indeed had no problems, Cecilia hid one thing. It turned out she found a strange thing in Jong Ein's head. Although it didn't look like a tumor, that thing burrowed very deeply. Logically speaking, abnormalities should have appeared in Jong Ein long ago. ago, but she acted as if nothing was wrong. Cecilia guessed it might be because she used Eugen's heart, but she couldn't be bothered to care about these things either. On the other side, after leaving the hospital, John went to Eugen's academy. Next, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Tell me the unit cell parameter conditions of the hexagonal crystal system and 3 metal elements belonging to it. The second question, what is the molecular geometry and estimated bond angle of a molecule with 2 bonding electron pairs and 2 lone electron pairs on the central atom? Although John answered both questions correctly, she was somewhat curious. Does ringless magic really require learning these things? Eugen affirmed this, and even claimed she was amazing to memorize so much more. No doubt about it, it's just basic level after all. I quickly skimmed through it before bed last night, and it turned out to be enough. This method is quite good. You must ensure 7 to 8 hours of sleep, so that the efficiency of studying subjects requiring memorization right before bed and in the 2 hours after waking up is extremely high. So if you are studying, don't develop the habit of browsing the web right after waking up. Don't waste the brain's precious golden time. Jong-un actually had some doubts in her heart because she felt her brain was working a bit too well. Her memory clearly wasn't this strong when she was a teenager. Yesterday, after coming out of the dimensional portal, perhaps due to the stress caused by teacher Eugen's reckless words, her head hurt in waves, feeling as if there was an extra brain inside her head. In an instant, Jong-un suddenly realized, it's the thing stuffed into my head yesterday. How could I forget this? I originally planned to slowly check it for you too. Teacher will check for you now, so this is what checking for me meant. Makes sense. Anyway, my heart was already scooped out and crushed by you once. Oh my, this thing is just about to break out of its shell. Jong-un suddenly began to panic. About to come out? This isn't an occasion to casually say such things. You've opened my head right now. It's better not to take this thing out directly. Seal it up first. I didn't expect that the Queen's successor individual, of which only one is born per generation in this world, was entrusted to you, child. It seems even when teacher isn't around, our Jong-un is very favored by Her Majesty the Queen in the fairy realm. The Queen's successor should be much stronger than other fairies. In Jong-un's view, just the aura of that queen was far stronger than anyone. Even a dragon wouldn't be guaranteed to win against her. Not to mention that as a queen, she definitely possessed mysterious powers too. If she could command such a powerful existence as successor, perhaps she could become an archmage in a year. Just as Jong-un was thinking this, the queen's successor inside her head crawled out on its own. What's going on? Is it out already? Jong-un, are you okay? The moment she turned around, Jong-un was somewhat disappointed. Oh my, how could this be? Teacher Eugen, did it only grow to be like this? Teacher Eugen said that it could handle both ringless magic and support magic usage, right? This is too cute. I'm really sorry. Teacher isn't too sure about those questions of yours either. It was just born and is still too young, and Her Majesty the Queen's characteristics are vastly different from other fairies. Thinking about its maturity process, an ordinary fairy takes about 3,000 years to reach adulthood. Her Majesty seems to have lived for over tens of thousands of years. Let's raise it well together first, and then slowly understand it. But Jong-un complained, I'm not adopting a pet, and now is not the time to be raising things. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to Friedrich's side. Anyway, that's my plan. You guys can also try to use your imagination. So you're letting us go now? I have to go eat a proper meal, finish the work on hand, and then get some proper rest. Recently, those guys in the association are having their performance review period and whatnot. Plus, I'm exhausted managing the company. Just then, Friedrich showed a picture of Eugen on the screen. What are you trying to do? Truly makes people uncomfortable. I've seen that thing. It's that guy who smashed several of our outsourced magical material processing plants. I've been hesitating whether to deal with him or recruit him. What was his name again? Seems to be Eugen. There are rumors saying he is Jong Ui-hyuk's disciple, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Don't go provoke that guy for nothing. Even if you run into him, leave quickly. This is a warning. Looking at that ghost-like face of his, do we even need a warning? It couldn't be someone you know, right? This is that guy's masterpiece. I voluntarily gave up my heart to barely escape. This is also why Linus is absent. No wonder the loyal Linus would be absent. This crazy old man. I know he's outrageous, but I didn't expect him to go this far. I heard he fought Jong Ui-hyuk's daughter and then ran away. I was wondering how there could be such an outrageous rumor. With your old geezer's personality, if it were in the past, you would have turned everything upside down long ago, busily refuting rumors and causing a ruckus. You must have met your match. Is that guy that scary? Hearing Friedrich confirm this, the lady with horns was stunned. Although it was almost barehanded, being suppressed to this extent is a first. Having lived for over 100 years and fought many battles, I've never experienced such a thing. If I had stubbornly continued fighting, I probably would have lost long ago. Something's wrong. What was originally a passing joke doesn't sound like a joke now. Are you really the Friedrich we all know? One moment saying you're going to kill Jong Ui-hyuk, next moment saying such things. Regardless of whether your words contradict each other, I can't seem to see the confidence of the strongest combat mage on you. Since just now, you've looked especially pathetic. I have never entrusted my soul and loyalty to this kind of coward. If you disappoint me this much, Friedrich, yield the position of Capricorn to me. After Teal finished speaking, she delivered a kick. But right at this moment, Shaori activated space magic. Truly disappointing. Did you really think I was going to blow Friedrich's head off? That was just a simple kick without any mana. Even so, if he didn't dodge, his head would have been kicked off by you. But you didn't even help me block that old man's counterattack. Is sister so heartless to me? Move your foot, Teal, it'll be cut off. Old man, retract the magic too. This is too wasteful. If you're unconvinced, let's make a bet. If you can kill that guy and bring him back, I will yield the position, Capricorn, to you, and then be your subordinate. Our old man, are you using this person's life to bet with me now? Then bring it on. I won't let you gloss over this as a joke. At this moment, news about John started to become viral. Where do you think this thing leaked from? Wasn't this supposed to be top secret intel? But that's true. How could such a big shot hide so easily? But speaking of which, I'm a bit sad. If you're going to catch John, at least make some preparations. Is it because you can't catch John that you think we're easy to bully? Since the two of us were always in charge of cleanup work, John did all the cool stuff, but the salary was indeed good. Young people, this full confidence of yours is very gratifying, but if you don't restrain your sharpness a bit, then we'll have to force you into those inevitable dangerous situations. If you're willing to help us call John out, we'll let you off. Is this a threat? Sounds very intimidating. We're not scared of you. If you haven't experienced true fear, don't show off here. Do you understand the kind of fear where your knees go weak and your blood vessels are about to burst? Anyway, it seems like our former chief has run into some trouble. However, right after Ju Yunhai finished speaking, the mages opposite them rushed over together. We'll take this opportunity to raise our value instead. After all, just relying on the status of John Line's former companion won't make us rich. Even for this kind of small fry, it can be good for our portfolio. Want to perform a bit? Don't be too greedy now. In their intelligence, the levels of the two mages beside John Line were very average, but for them, these guys were better than expected. After a simple incantation, Ju Yunhai activated the Turing magic, Ice Prison. These guys can really fight. It's your turn. Stop playing with your phone. You clearly look like you're dying to catch John Line. Why are you so uncooperative? We don't need these two. Just then, a single ring magic appeared at his fingertip. Seeing that magic, worry arose in Go Huimiang's heart. At the critical moment, he stood in front of Ju Yunhai and blocked this fatal strike for her. No need to waste time with these two anymore. John Line is nearby. I'll go over right now. It turned out the man had discovered a photo of John Line in an online post. The scene shifted to John Line's side. Please open the dimensional portal again. Even if it is the Fairy Queen's successor, it won't do. We have to return the child to its mother, right? Then just bring another fairy over. Won't that do? A dimensional portal can't be opened casually either. To reopen it, it takes at least 3 months of preparation. Just then, the fairy spoke up, saying hi to the two. Oh my goodness, I forgot to say hello. Hello friend, you are Eugen, right? Mom told me to get along well with you. And the sister sitting over there, you must be John Line, right? The things sister has been watching are too boring and uninteresting. Watch something fun. I get it. So it was all thanks to this child. It's precisely because this child shared a neural network in your brain during the fetal stage that John Line's memory storage capacity was enhanced. This is amazing. It's equivalent to 2 brains processing information simultaneously. No wonder John Line performed so outstandingly. I was even worried if teacher underestimated John Line too much. Turns out it was all thanks to this child. This is really interesting. Speaking of which, what is our little friend's name? Name? Sister John Line. What is my name? But John Line was confused. Why are you asking me your name? Didn't your mom give you a name? When the fairy said its name, John Line felt as if those words were censored, and that was the name it had while in the belly. I heard that you're supposed to get a new name after birth. Because I was born from your brain, I'll let you name me. Give me a name. Looking at the fairy rubbing its little hands in anticipation, John Line felt somewhat troubled. Then you'll be called Jelly, like the jellyfish. Does our little Jelly have anything you're good at or skilled in? Our John Line needs Jelly's help right now. My help? Do you want to become an Archmage? I saw it when I was in your brain. You just want to make your dad, the Archmage John Ui Hyuk, look at you differently, right? However, John Line quickly interrupted. What gives you the right to casually tell everyone the things in someone else's head? There's a lot I'm good at. Just watch. Let me tell you, I'm also very good at flying around like this. Also, being kneaded and molded like this by me. Seeing this, Eugen was thrilled. It really works. This is exactly the characteristic of these fairies, which served as the prototype for ringless magic. It is indeed of great help to mastering ringless magic. But right at this moment, John Line's face suddenly blushed red and she screamed. This is Sister John Line's favorite dad's face. Could it be that Sister John Line hates dad? I don't hate him, but you're not allowed to imitate it. Little Jelly, even if in a completely unexpected way, seems to be able to help you greatly. Until just now, because it was in a pre-birth state, it only affected things like your memory. But if Jelly, which possesses clear ego and intelligence like this, can act as your second brain, not only for John Line's theoretical studies, but even for general magic usage in the mastery and application of ringless magic, it will be of immense help. The risks that I was most worried about when teaching John Line ringless magic can also be greatly reduced. Using brain functions double-fold is not merely just doubling cognition, thinking, and memory, but treating this kind of undisciplined, impolite, and childish guy as my second brain, let alone helping. Wouldn't it just make me mentally ill? Jelly was just born not long ago. Whatever other skills it has, what it can learn, and what it wants to learn, will naturally slowly become known after living in this world for a while, and it will naturally grow into a reliable partner. What is the thing our little Jelly wants to do the most right now? Not long after, Eugen brought them to a burger joint. I'm digging in. Is it really okay to give a fairy this kind of food? Speaking of which, why did you suddenly want to eat a burger? I saw it when I was in your brain. When you were little and ate this with Eugen, you were especially happy. Jaw 9, you just stay with Jelly all the time and help Jelly form a healthy immature ego. But Jaw 9 complained, don't conveniently push its custody onto me. Are you Jaw 9? Right at this moment, a sudden voice startled Jaw 9. I thought it looked like you from far away. I didn't expect it to really be you. I heard you made a comeback after a fierce battle with Friedrich. Are you completely healed? Our Jaw 9 is so popular. I see. Hearing this familiar voice, both of them were dumbfounded. We met once at the cafe before. I didn't expect to see you here again. This is my teacher helping me with rehabilitation. We came out to talk about return training, so that's how it is. Sorry to disturb you during your busy schedule. You've worked hard. Mage Jaw 9. Is this someone you know? Teacher Eugen? We met once nearby a few days ago. Sister Jaw 9. I want to go online too. Lend me the phone to watch videos. But Jaw 9 didn't like this idea. My external auxiliary brain made this kind of self-destructive request under the control of stimulation and dopamine. I definitely can't agree to this kind of request, right? Just satisfy it with this small matter. Even if Jelly was sent by Her Majesty the Queen to help you, you can spoil it this much at least. It lost the chance to choose the life it wanted the moment it was born, and can only be forced to help Jaw 9 achieve her goals. How pitiful that is. So let's treat it as a newborn baby now. Let it act spoiled like a child, and treat all this relaxedly. Hearing these words, Jaw 9 handed the phone to Jelly. I'm going to the restroom for a moment. Don't let it watch weird things. Teacher Eugen, keep an eye on it for me. After the incident just now, Jaw 9 knew her whereabouts were completely exposed. Fortunately, those people at most only knew she was injured, and still didn't know she completely couldn't use magic right now. Could Choi Isuk have already leaked her situation? If that was true, there would definitely be countless guys seeking revenge on her, and they might even think about kidnapping her to use her to get something from her dad. When she was with Teacher Eugen, there was nothing to worry about. But what if she encountered danger on the way home or at home? Jaw 9 couldn't help but think, why not just live at Eugen's place? Meanwhile, she was completely unaware of the man behind her, who asked, have you finished washing your hands? Is that thing nice to look at? This payment exceeds the limit. How do I unlock it? What is this annoying thing? There's a call coming in. Give me the phone for a second. I'll answer for Jaw 9. Teacher Eugen, where are you now? Where's Miss Jaw 9? We just came out to eat burgers. Jaw 9 went to the restroom just now. Please go to Miss Jaw 9 immediately. Absolutely do not leave Miss Jaw 9 alone right now. Magical criminals have targeted Miss Jaw 9 and even found our side. They locked onto Miss Jaw 9's location earlier and headed your way. They are stronger than expected. It's too dangerous for Miss Jaw 9, who can't use magic right now. You must stay by her side and guard her. I didn't expect you to actually dare to walk around openly. Is it because you think the fact that you can't use magic hasn't been exposed yet? Jaw 9 had long anticipated this day would come, and looking at this guy's appearance, he probably wasn't a fan. Right now Eugen was in the building next door, and Jaw 9 didn't have her phone with her. Even if she resisted here, she couldn't hold out until Eugen rushed over. I think you probably already realized, coming with me obediently is good for both of us. Jaw 9 immediately realized this was a kidnapping, meaning she wasn't in life-threatening danger for the time being. Jaw 9 estimated his level was at most lower sorcerer tier, otherwise he would have used binding magic or trap magic right away, leaving her no room to resist. For the other party to only send such a mage, Jaw 9 momentarily felt her pride took a hit. Before the man started acting, Jaw 9 suddenly screamed loudly, and taking advantage of his delayed reaction, she grabbed one of his arms. In a swift motion, Jaw 9 grappled his opponent's arm. Pretty fast, right? I used to make mistakes often when practicing, yet you, besides using magic, look like a fool who knows nothing else. Do you know how to use coding protective magic? But even if you did, you couldn't protect places like joints. Who sent you? Was it one of those scums I cleaned up? The man once again channeled a single ring magic on his finger. Just then, the man released magic to force Jaw 9 to let go. This guy was far more ruthless than Jaw 9 thought, and being unable to use magic, this was all she could do. The man released magic again, cutting off one of Jaw 9's arms. After Jaw 9 fainted, the man took her away. To prevent Jaw 9 from dying of excessive blood loss, he specifically bandaged her wound. However, since one of the man's arms was also broken, he didn't have the energy to clean up the scene. Not long after the man took Jaw 9 away, Eugen and Jelly finally arrived to this place. But here, apart from Jaw 9's severed arm, nothing else was left. After seeing that severed arm, Eugen went completely crazy. I am such an idiot. I should have realized it long ago. Jaw 9 had made it so clear. She was clearly so uneasy before. I'm sorry. Your teacher has failed you. Jaw 9. Eugen, are you okay? I'll come help you look for Jaw 9 together. You're right. It's still not too late. The arm is still here, indicating she was attacked after exiting the restroom, and it shouldn't have been too long ago. Realizing that Jaw 9 might still be alive, Eugen immediately activated ringless magic, spatial memory tracking. Through this magic, he quickly saw everything that had happened here earlier. At the end of the magic, Eugen watched a man in red take Jaw 9 into a car. Thank goodness, Jaw 9 is still alive. They seem to be taking her away in a car. I have to hurry and save her. Right at this moment, Go Huimiang and Ju Yunhai also came over, but seeing Eugen's current state, both of them subconsciously took a few steps back. Mr. Go Huimiang and Miss Ju Yunhai, thank you for warning warning me. Jiang seems to have been kidnapped. Time is tight. I will go save Jiang first. We are rushing over right now, but that lunatic cut off one of her arms and his own arm is broken. Do you have a first aid kit with hemostatics and splints over there? If possible, it's best to prepare some blood. He boasted earlier that he could capture her completely unharmed, and even if he cut her, he should at least take the arm with him, yet he left the arm at the scene. For tracking magic, we've already used interference spray, and she doesn't seem to have her phone. Behind the car, what is that thing? We haven't even left the city area yet. Hurry up and get rid of it. Clearly seeing the thing in front of him, the man was also startled. John 9, stay awake. Even if you're very tired, you can't sleep here. Teacher will come save you very soon. I will also help reattach John 9's arm. However, right after Eugen finished speaking, his arm was directly severed by the man in red. Is that a bodyguard? Actually swaggering through the streets with such a conspicuous thing. You have to wake up quickly. You're not sleepy right now, but rather entering hemorrhagic shock. Excuse me, mister. Please wait until I finish recovering. I'll go right in. And don't let John 9 fall asleep. However, before Eugen could finish, the man in red activated multiple single ring magics. Along with Eugen and the car roof, everything was sliced to pieces. That thing sends a chill down my spine. How could it not be cool? The car roof has been blown off. Fortunately, after the commotion just now, John 9 finally regained her consciousness. Not long after, they took John 9 to an abandoned building far from the city. To actually get your arm broken by a woman who can't use magic. Why did it turn out like this? If they use this as an excuse to lower the price, then I'll deduct it from your share. Have you finished dealing with it? Can she be taken away? Yes, we stopped the bleeding and anesthetized her for now. Why not take the hat off? We don't know what magic was cast on it. We can't take it off. The car has been arranged, right? Before they arrive, quickly pack up and clean up. Leave absolutely no evidence. Because it was too urgent earlier, I didn't even say hello to you. That arm wasn't intentionally broken by me. I didn't expect a sorcerer tier high-grade combat mage's martial arts foundation to be so solid. Do you know that guy? He's the one who provided us with intel. My employer heard some rumors in a bar yesterday and grabbed him for interrogation. That guy seems to be a combat mage too, but catching him was easier than catching you. Looked pretty stubborn but folded at the slightest touch. Get to the point. Are you trying to use my life to make demands of my father, or simply seeking revenge? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but even threatened with my life, my father won't waver. I know, he wouldn't even bat an eye. Anyone with a bit of a brain knows that, right? The lives of innocent people suffering somewhere at this moment, and the life of his own biological daughter. To our great Archmage John Ui Hyuk, everyone's lives are equally precious. As to whether he truly treats everyone equally, that remains unknown. Anyway, what's certain is that man won't easily make a move. As an Archmage who couldn't even prevent his daughter's disappearance, he probably won't care at all about this tiny stain. The higher-ups of the Alliance really want to claim you for themselves, whether to make you into a specimen or keep you as a pet. Anyway, your ending will be miserable. To tell you the truth, this is revenge. Just childish revenge from those left behind who couldn't keep up with the new era ushered in by that man. Jong-un realized that she wasn't immediately transferred to another place, indicating they still had things to prepare. Moreover, earlier when her consciousness was blurry, Jong-un had already heard Eugen's voice. As for what that person just said, Jong-un knew her father did not care about her, just that he bore that kind of responsibility. Jong-un didn't know why he ignored the bond between her and her father. She understood the heavy responsibility her father shouldered, and her father trusted Jong-un, but that guy treated this emotion as something insignificant. Just thinking about this, she wanted to tear that guy's mouth apart. Just when she thought she couldn't do anything, Jelly tugged at the hem of Jong-un's pants. Is it really okay that your arm is broken? Your face is all wrinkled from the pain. Do you want to watch online videos together? Meanwhile, in an undisclosed location, these smiling mages are not humans, but human specimens. Thank you for your honesty. Even if she lost an arm, I won't mind, but I hope you can, if possible, avoid causing physical and mental damage beyond this extent. If you could send the hat she always wears along with her, that would be even better. This is a collectible my dear wife has been longing for. We will send someone to the handover location on time today. Thank you very much. We will properly handle the aftermath before sending the items over. Someone was worrying about your share of the money all along, and yet you're comfortably drinking here. After this matter is over, we will never have to see each other again, right? If you could change that attitude, maybe after you leave Korea you can become a full-time employee at the new location. The man kept telling himself that the culprit who caused all this was Jong Ui Hyuk. As long as he could leave a trace of distortion in his sickening smile, that would be enough. Wait for me a sec. I just saw a really funny video, but accidentally clicked wrong. Jelly, why are you here? Where is teacher Eugen? Just now when Eugen went to stop that speeding car, I got off. I see. Did teacher Eugen say anything else? He said he would follow right away and told us to wait obediently. I have a message from him here. Thinking that Eugen would arrive shortly, Jong-un also breathed a sigh of relief inside. Hello, I am Jelly. Jong-un named me. Could this child be a fairy that made a contract with Lord Jong-un? As expected of Lord Jong-un, you've mastered even such rare magic. You come over here too. Before we go out, let's watch online videos together. But what is that thing you're wearing on your hands? Is it a popular fashion item nowadays? These are magic restraining handcuffs. Locked by this, you can't use magic. This thing costs 10 million apiece. I really don't know how they got them. If I didn't have this thing. I could beat all those bastards down with my magic. Jong-un was carefully planning. To deal with that guy's cutting magic, one would need at least protective magic on Go Huimiang's level. I've already unlocked it for you. Now you can go beat them to a pulp. How is this possible? Jelly, you're too amazing. Meanwhile, Jong-un was surprised at what happened. This thing can't be unlocked without magic. If forced open, it would burn the mana nerves connected to the wrists. Jong-un suddenly thought of the method Yujin mentioned to use magic without mana. How could this actually work? Realizing this, Jong-un asked who the bald man was. My name is Park Jong-dae. No need to be so formal. Mr. Jong-dae, you also saw my teacher Yujin yesterday, right? He will arrive here very soon. Park Jong-dae was scared to death hearing these words. Before teacher Yujin arrives, as long as you promise me one request. After all, you casually spread my situation everywhere, causing my arm to be cut off and ending up in this miserable state. But if you agree, I might consider forgiving you. Just say it. No matter what you say, I will agree to it. Meanwhile, just outside the facility, contact the boss. There are 3 illegal intruders. Tell them to stop cleaning the building, pack up the merchandise immediately and run. Just say the situation is extremely critical. Even a bunch of scums know what danger is. Since you're huddled together like a mob, then I'll use my magic. Hold on a second. It's a really dangerous situation. Can we leave it to teacher Yujin to handle? I think that would be safer. Then I'll try talking to them first. This is a restricted area. We are all combat mages. No matter what you do, don't even think about prying our mouths open. At this moment, all of the enemies were altered by Yujin. Kidnapped people are usually locked in the basement, forced to process magic ingredients. But those important targets kidnapped by commission are managed personally by the boss and the executives. Go straight inside. The boss's lounge is on the 3rd floor. We are only responsible for guarding here. We aren't too clear about other specific details. That is enough. Thank you very much for your detailed explanation. Excuse me, among these people doing bad things together, is there someone named Ma Jian? Never mind. Now is not the time to care about these things. We have to rescue Jong-un first. Teacher Yujin, what do you plan to do? If we deal with those executives first, Miss Jong-un might be taken hostage. Then I will go look for places where Jong-un might be held. Let's hurry and go in first. Meanwhile, on the other side, the guy who took Jong-un was now hesitating. What exactly was I doing just now? Even if I do this, my life cannot possibly receive any compensation, let alone taking revenge on the Archmage. I can't even beat his daughter. In the end, upon hearing she can't use magic now, I went crazy. The deeper my resentment toward Jong Ui-hyuk becomes, it further proves that the reason I couldn't become special wasn't the fault of this era, but my innate mediocrity and despicable inferiority complex. Before this sickening era began, at that time, the look in that child's eyes watching me use magic, if it weren't for that child looking at me as if I were the most brilliant gemstone in the world, I probably wouldn't have lived so stubbornly until now. Suddenly, Jong-un appeared beside him. Have you finished washing your hands and come out? Startled, he immediately executed his most adept cutting magic, but the magic was shattered by a single punch from Jong-un. In that instant, the man was stunned because he couldn't understand how Jong-un, without mana, did it. Because what Jong-un just used was clearly magic. The man didn't understand why Jong-un would rather have her arm cut off than reveal she still had mana. What you're thinking is written all over your face. Are you trying to say, if I can use it, why hide it? Look, isn't it bleeding? Didn't you see this terribly awful defense? To be precise, she could use magic again, but currently only to this extent. It turned out that not long ago, Jong-un had Park Jong-dae explain to Jelly a few magic spells that he knew. Isn't there anything else? Even an elemental release type magic would do. If it's only these, they won't cause much damage at all. Actually, I could use 2 or 3 more touring magics, but because of yesterday's events I used them all up, and I haven't prepared the materials right now either. Hearing this, Jong-un was forced to accept this much from Park Jong-dae. Jelly, you can really do what I said earlier, right? Your role is extremely important here. Although I feel it can work, this is too complicated. It's hard for me to quickly complete it alone. The rest of the difficult imitations will rely on Jong-un using your brain to help together. Leave that to me. Come in first. Just follow the commands issued by my brain like I said just now. Travel along the blood vessels and infiltrate into my hands, heart, and brain. The instant Jelly entered Jong-un's body, her expression became extremely twisted. Because Yujin used magic to help take Jelly out back then, she had no idea it would be this painful. But accurately speaking, this wasn't pain, but the body's conditioned reflex, as if thoughts and consciousness were torn apart and then mixed together again. Jong-un kept telling herself she could do it, because she was the daughter of the Archmage Jong Ui-hyuk. In this way, Jong-un finally succeeded. Even without mana, she produced a ring. A feeling of joy like this hadn't occurred since she was 8 years old. But Mage Jong-un, didn't you say Mr. Yujin would come to save us very soon? This is too dangerous. Wouldn't it be better for us to wait here for him? Mr. Jong-dae, I am now teacher Yujin's student. If I just wait for the teacher to feed me every time, when will I truly improve? If this is the fundamental duty a student should strictly adhere to, shouldn't I preview the lesson before the official class starts? Indeed, regardless, there definitely should have been contingency measures. From planning to execution, I was too naive. After all, the target we kidnapped was the daughter of the Archmage, Jong-un. I said it just now, my father has nothing to do with this matter, especially you, rashly making enemies without even knowing who your opponent is. From the the very beginning, you only had one opponent, and that is me, the mage Zhang. Before this occurred, Zhang and the others were already trying to escape. Mr. Zhang, just hide here. You can't even walk. It'll definitely be harder for you to fight than an one-armed person like me. Actually, Park Zhang felt somewhat fortunate internally that his hamstrings were severed earlier. Otherwise, with his level, he absolutely couldn't survive in this tier of combat. Although the man didn't know how Zhang could use magic again, just as Zhang said, her current level was far from her original strength. Although she barely managed the defense timing using barrier-type defensive magic, that level of magic couldn't perfectly block the attacks. Even just barely blocking it seemed to be nearing her limits. But even so, the man didn't dare engage in close combat with Zhang because he didn't have any decent defensive magic. He could only try to keep his distance from Zhang. Just as he was thinking this, Zhang suddenly charged forward. Didn't I tell you, my speed is very fast? However, just as the man predicted, Zhang's current magic couldn't completely block the cutting magic, but Zhang's defense managed to deflect the cutting magic just enough to avoid any injuries. And what the man didn't expect was that Zhang actually hit a shockwave within the magic just now. Zhang felt like she would be fine. The situation wasn't too bad. Although they were all unremarkable low performance spells, the probability of winning in this situation was already high enough. And now it even reached the point where she didn't have to worry about the burden on her heart and could use magic to her heart's content. Damage was steadily accumulating, and the opponent had no defensive magic. If it was just simple cutting magic, it should be very easy to deal with. Just as Zhang planned to continue wearing him down and wait for an opportunity to close in and end the fight, Jelly couldn't hold on anymore. Zhang, you're moving too fast. I'm so dizzy I want to throw up now. You never mentioned having this kind of limit before. But Jelly was helpless. I didn't know either. This is the first time it's like this. Those things are too complicated. I can't keep up with your rhythm. Hearing Jelly say this, Zhang realized she needed to end the battle as soon as possible. Jelly, you are the best. You must hold on. I will end the battle right now. However, upon rushing in front of the man, Zhang was completely stunned because that guy was clearly about to activate multiple single ring magics. With no choice, Zhang could only give up her attack and switch to activating defensive magic. It turns out the man altered the attack pattern of his spell, catching Zhang off guard. Moreover, with only one arm, Zhang simply couldn't mount a counterattack. The only thing she could do now was to try her best to block the man's attacks with her arm. But even in this situation, Zhang still didn't want to give up. She believed that as long as she held on a little longer, she would definitely find an opportunity. But to her surprise, her body gave out first. Although she was given anesthetics and a blood transfusion, the impact of the severed arm was still too great. That's enough. Stop doing these meaningless things. I've fully experienced what an amazing mage you are. To think you could achieve this extent using just a few basic magics. You also witnessed it yourself. My magic easily causes damage, so there's absolutely no way I can hold back. If you resist again, it'll be very troublesome for both of us. Your arm is injured and you just took an attack. Your mind must be gradually getting hazy, right? I'll go get hemostatics and anesthetics right now. You rest well for a bit. Why should I do that? Seeing you look for all sorts of messy excuses to end this, it seems you're having a hard time on your end too. I wouldn't necessarily lose either, yet you're playing the good guy here. You handled just a few beginner magics with such difficulty, and you have the nerve to say you won? You're an old generation mage, aren't you? I can tell from the hand gestures you specially designed to increase your power and your real combat application methods. Can't even keep up with the neat and tidy modern system Dad established. A stubborn mage clinging to the rigid old era forms and calling yourself a dropout. Even your magic is outdated to the core, truly hopeless. However, this reminded the man of a time in the past with Zhang Yuihyuk, truly outstanding. I didn't expect there would still be mages existing who used traditional methods to manipulate magic. The methods I compiled were organized prioritizing efficiency for those unfamiliar with magic. It is difficult to fully reflect the unique know-how accumulated by past generations of mages. Although originally created for battle and slaughter, it became too cumbersome to use in anti-personnel combat and was judged unsuitable for battle, leading to its decline as a faction's magic. To think you actually plan to use it for slaughtering meat. This is meat processed with precision cutting techniques that even machines can't achieve. Both the texture and flavor are exquisite enough to let one feel a magical elegance. I can tell that only now has this magic finally reached its glorious moment. If magic hadn't been popularized in the world, someone like Mr. Ma Jian, who could find a novel and bold new positioning for stagnant magic, probably wouldn't have emerged either. Thanks to you, this meal was very enjoyable. I hope in the future, Mr. Jian's magic can bring happiness to more people. Ma Jian actually didn't want to become this kind of person in the beginning, but under Zhang Yuihyuk's system, his magic was defined as unsuitable for combat, so he could only work in the processing industry. Recalling those past events, Ma Jian was completely enraged. As expected of that guy's child, even the words coming out of her mouth are exactly the same as that guy. Having her leg cut off, Zhang helplessly fell to the ground. You obstinate fool. I originally wanted to be a bit polite to you considering your pitiful situation of being sold off soon. You're right, I am a dropout. Then I'll vent all my resentment toward your father on you. Why are you acting so coy and cowering? Didn't you say you stood up because because you could win? I'm thinking, maybe I shouldn't have cut off your leg for no reason. If you were still standing, splitting you in half would definitely be more flavorful. I'll use the old school method you disdain to send you on your final journey. Like a sunset with folded wings, crimson rift, spread forth with me at the center. With breath of the fading light, silently divide the unseen boundaries. Two-ring complex magic. But before Ma Jian could finish his incantation, Jelly swallowed the two-ring magic in his hand in one gulp. I was still wondering when you would use it. I was certain you'd have some other trump card. To be honest, that was my goal. The projectile-based cutting magic, although easily disrupted by external factors, as long as it can fly unimpeded along the preset trajectory, it looks to be much more efficient than the mana blades I used before. I'll apologize to you first. The things I said just now were actually just to provoke you. As for the system my father established, it's actually just for the convenience of those reserve mages newly exposed to magic. For me personally, I prefer using those old school chants and hand gestures. Unfortunately, with one arm broken now, I can only simplify it. You didn't say the name of the magic just now. How about I give it a name? Two-ring complex magic, light cutting. With this spell, Zhang managed to cut the whole building in 6 pieces. At the same time, another subordinate screamed out in pain. Stop ignoring my calls for help, you guys. Half my butt is gone. Aside from that man, Yujin was also sliced in half by Zhang magic, but he merely gave a gentle push with his hands, and his body was put back together. Although it's an undiscriminating large area attack, because the coverage is very thin, dodging it is indeed very easy. But purely discussing the cutting power and speed relative to the invested mana, it is still quite excellent. Good thing I knew in advance the location of Mr. Zhangde who was caught with me. Even if someone was hit in a blind spot, it doesn't matter. Everyone in this building is just scum making a living off kidnapping and imprisonment. Now we're even, right? One arm and one leg each. I've returned it to you fairly, although I originally wanted to tear that mouth of yours apart. Regardless, I'll make good use of this magic. That look in your eyes is really scary. It seems you still. But halfway through Zhang Nine's words, Jelly went limp. Zhang Nine is a liar. You clearly said you'd let me go after using it one more time. I really can't take it anymore. We're just one last hit away. But just as Zhang Nine finished speaking, she collapsed too. She had reached her limit now as well. Aside from the wound and excessive blood loss, the burden on her brain from using magic via Jelly was also extremely heavy. Originally, Zhang Nine wanted to torture that guy a bit more, but now there was no chance. However, Zhang Nine was satisfied with her current accomplishments. At that moment, she knew that Yujin would take care of the rest. Meanwhile, Kim Sung-hai was being asked a few questions. 30 years ago, wasn't it taught in schools? Are you treating me like an old person just because I'm almost 40? I'm a woman too. My feelings get hurt. That was before the Archmage Zhang Yuihyuk stepped forward, right? After all, the world changed so fast. Kids who didn't experience it personally might not know. Even history classes taught in schools wouldn't explain it that thoroughly. At that time, the privileged class were hiding in bomb shelters or safe zones to survive. Although they always disliked Zhang Yuihyuk, the vast majority of people in the world who couldn't live that kind of life believed in Zhang Yuihyuk. There's a reason for this, although I don't really want to recall it, but back then, the human world itself was hell. Enough is enough. Even if you're starving, you can't be like this. Do you intend to survive by robbing food from this scrawny kid? I heard a rationing truck regularly comes to the safe city. Everyone is clearly suffering. Why must you? In the instant the man threw a brick, a red line severed the brick in his hand. After the person in front of them used cutting magic, the two men were terrified. But that mage wasn't worried about exposing his identity at all, because the people of this era had become completely numb. Are you okay? Can you understand me? Wait, your face. Sorry. You must be in a lot of pain right now. Since I've let you see it, I'll introduce myself while I'm at it. I am the future great combat mage traveling the human world. My name is Ma Jian. Meanwhile, back in the present, Ma Jian had already been turned into a puddle of mud by Yujin's magic. Although I didn't specially pick this time, you arrived right on time. Thank you for coming to save me, Teacher Yujin. At this time, Yujin's expression was exceedingly terrifying. Rushing over so anxiously, you must have worked hard. Excuse me, but could you please fix me up first? My consciousness is starting to gradually blur. You kept my severed arm safe, right? I'm really sorry. I'll have to trouble you with this leg too. I apologize. I tried not to get hurt any further, but it couldn't be helped. Yujin didn't say anything. He merely silently activated ringless magic. Rewind. As expected of Teacher Yujin's ringless magic, not only the severed limbs, even the wounds on my body have been completely healed. It feels like I've returned to the state right before I took jelly out of my head. Teacher Yujin, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Why do you look so awful? Zhang Nine, I'm so sorry. I didn't take good enough care of you. This was what you were uneasy and worried about all along. Teacher was too careless and too slow. I clearly told you not to worry, yet I made absolutely no preparations for this kind of thing. I clearly promised to become Zhang Nine's teacher, but it turned out like this. I don't have the qualifications to be a teacher. Teacher Yujin, Uncle Yujin, hurry and snap out of it. Teacher, you have no reason and no need to blame yourself for this incident. Teacher Yujin, you are not my bodyguard. You are my teacher. Allowing a student to stand up on their own, helping them make up for it when they lack something, cheering for them when they achieve something. This is the role of a teacher. Aren't I fine? And after today's events, my trust in Teacher Yujin's curriculum has become even firmer. Yesterday, yesterday teacher took me to the fairy realm and let me meet Jelly, which is why I could make good use of the time before teacher Eugen arrived. So please throw away all those worthless thoughts. Even if I encounter this kind of thing again in the future, please teach me earnestly so I can solve it on my own. Let me show you something now. My preparation this time was pretty solid. You'll definitely be surprised when you see it. Actually, the reason why Zhonglin previously felt disappointed in Eugen was because the first time she used magic, she originally wanted Eugen to be the first one to see it besides her dad. Come on, Jelly. Single ring magic. However, time seemed to stand still. Why can't I use it now? I can't link to Zhonglin's body right now. It's as if we were never connected in the first place. I can't feel anything at all. Teacher Eugen, did you return my body to its past undamaged state using ringless magic? How did you know when I haven't even explained it? Our Zhonglin is truly amazing, truly awesome. When using ringless magic to touch a target and deform it, it goes through a so-called scanning process. As long as the target has been recorded through scanning, no matter what kind of damage it suffers, it can be instantly restored to the state before scanning. So that's how it is. Then I'll show you later. Remembering how excited she was just now, Zhonglin felt a bit embarrassed. The one over there is Mr. Park Jong-dae. He said his hamstrings are severed. That guy? He's a failure who holds a grudge against father and wants to take it out on me. Probably a criminal whose profession is human trafficking. He even wanted to sell me to some place. What are you doing? Teacher Eugen, you are meddling too much, right? Even if you heal him, he won't be grateful. What are you doing now? What are you trying to do to my body? Please endure a bit longer. Healing without a scan requires more concentration and time. It seems I wasn't mistaken from before. That face at that time, I've never forgotten it. I roughly know what you are doing. What should have been a joyful reunion doesn't make one feel happy at all. Do you remember the canned tuna from 30 years ago? Even if I wanted to forget it, I couldn't. Go ahead and eat. Ma Jian used cutting magic to open the canned tuna in the boy's hand. Seeing you so pitifully hungry, I did this specially for you. Is this a place where people would die over a merkin of tuna? It's even worse than I heard. At this time, the boy grabbed a handful of tuna and handed it in front of Ma Jian. You eat more. Kids younger than me who can't even speak are experiencing this hellish life. Human authorities in the Magic Alliance, have they just let this be all along? This must all be changed. We mages must take responsibility for the power we possess and guide humanity forward. For these children who chew on despair in their hearts every moment, without even the chance to enjoy happiness and peace, magic is essential. To achieve this, I must work even harder and become a member of the Magic Alliance. I'm leaving now. Although I can't do more for you right now, I promise you one thing. No matter what, keep your life and survive. This hellish life will end completely soon. Magic will descend upon this world. Until then, please keep everything you saw today a secret. Thanks to you, I've finally figured out what kind of mage I want to become. When we meet again, I will become a more excellent mage to help children like you. Do you remember now, Mr. Ma Jian? It was all because of your kindness and promise back then that I could survive and make it here. Ma Jian was completely dumbfounded. This monster in front of him was actually that cute child. Is it memory reading magic? Otherwise, how could this guy know that conversation? But if it isn't, then I have been cherishing memories of a monster like this over and over. Mr. Ma Jian, no matter what you are doing now, the fact that you are my benefactor will never change. Thanks to you, I survived, met my master, and became a mage. I can finally help those children who haven't given up on life and harbor new dreams. I dare not speculate what life hardships you have experienced during this time, or why you got involved in such evil deeds, but let me help you. I promise you. Please surrender yourself. I will try my best to help Mr. Jian start a clean new life. Hearing this, Ma Jian surrendered himself willingly. Is it the former chief? Have you reunited with teacher Eugen yet? Suddenly a large-scale cutting magic spread here without warning. Go Huimian and I were almost split in half. Of course we have already entered the building. We are with teacher Eugen to rescue our former chief Zhonglin. It seems the scale of the criminal syndicate here is quite large. Let's regroup there. It would be great if we could search for the detained kidnapping victims together. Meanwhile, in a private jet, what a useless bunch. Not only can they not get the extra revenue, but they've been endlessly requesting protection and support for these past few months. Do they really think we are orphanage caretakers? Let me see which bastard is making trouble on our turf. How could this happen? It's this guy again. I originally wanted to let it slide out of respect for the old man. What right does he have to specifically target our businesses to cause trouble? Meanwhile, someone else on the private jet complained. What are you muttering about over there? I'm trying to sleep. Your snoring is way louder. You punk. You're only hitching a ride here because you got on Shaori's bad side. My head is about to explode because of this matter. It was done by that guy named Eugen. Miss Teal, the bet you made with the old man. This is him, right? We have now found that guy's location. So you found him. Where is he now? It's still far away. How on earth did these bastards stir up such a disaster and make things so troublesome? Gotta send some men over to clean everything up before evidence leaks. Leave this kind of thing to me. Let me see their current location. What are you in a rush for? By the time we get off the plane and head over, it'll definitely be late. Could it be that you want to? I've woken up anyway, and I'm quite bored right now. I want to warm up my body before the fight starts. I'll take charge of completely destroying that place to pieces. No way. I'll pinpoint it for you as soon as I get off the plane. Don't be impatient. Thanks for treating me to a ride on the plane. I'll go on ahead. The next second, Teal blew up the private jet she was riding down with one punch. I'm really looking forward to it. Just how strong is the monster that turned our boss into a coward? Meanwhile, on the other side, Zhongnan also rescued the people locked up here. It's actually Mage Zhongnan who came to save us. Thinking about it this way, being locked up here is actually quite worth it. The condition of the people here is much better than the ones I rescued before. The person whose butt was cut off was still constantly wailing. He couldn't help but think, if only he had requested backup sooner. While the man was thinking this, Yujin reattached his butt for him. Zhongnan also met up with Go Huimian, Zhu Yunhai, and the others. It's finally over. Tossing and turning continuously yesterday and today has been too exhausting. Is your butt okay? As expected of trash making money from human trafficking. Tell me, who is the one trying to buy me? Look at your current state. Do you want to live like this for the rest of your life? John 9, we can just hand him over to the police. If the police allow it, I can just directly read his brain too. The man knew very well in his heart that if the police came, things would be troublesome. He couldn't help but wonder if the last subordinate had escaped or not. If rescue could arrive in time. Mr. Jian, even if it's a small detail, do you know any clues? I want to deal with the threat targeting Zhong 9 in advance. I'm a mercenary who joined not long ago. I'm not too clear about the detailed transactions, but just now I heard this guy on the phone with someone suspected to be the buyer. They were talking about the transaction location. He said it was today, so if you want to find out, you better hurry. Thank you for telling me this. I'll try my best to have all your cooperation taken into account. I have a friend who is a police officer. Teacher will go contact Detective Kim Sung-hai. Recently it's been exhausting to death, but these things still hold a lot of meaning. Zhong Nan not only figured out Jelly's abilities but also found key clues for her return as a mage. Thinking about how she even doubted Yujin before, she couldn't help but apologize to Yujin in her heart. Although you are nagging, clumsy, and very stubborn, but your efforts and preparations to train me into an archmage are genuine. I will definitely believe you from now on. Meanwhile, Kim Sung-hai, who received the call, also rushed here at the first opportunity. But right at this moment, she noticed there seemed to be something in the sky. Why can't I see it yet? I remember it was around here. Only an idiot would choose such a conspicuous location, right? My heart is pounding. How should I make my entrance? I will wait for you near the entrance. It looks like it's going to rain outside. Everyone, move outside first. I am going to cast a spell to make it easier for the police to transport you. However, right after Yujin finished speaking, Teal suddenly appeared and stomped Ma Jian's head into pieces. Fortunately, a second before she appeared, Yujin managed to release his magic. As for Teal, she was also startled by Yujin in front of her. What the hell is this? In an instant, everyone capable of using magic began to cast spells to protect themselves. It's impossible to mistake you. It's you, isn't it? The monster that defeated our boss is definitely you. But before Teal could make a move, Yujin's body suddenly exploded. By the time the police arrived, the building Yujin and the others were in had just collapsed. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Zhu Yunhai used ice magic in time to protect Zhong 9. Thanks to you guys, I'm fine. And while protecting everyone, Yujin even found time to restore Ma Jian's body. Obviously, it was teacher Yujin who protected everyone. They were all inside Yujin's body right now. Moreover, judging from this scale of destruction, even if the people here went out, they wouldn't be of any help. It was better to just leave it to Yujin to handle it alone. Meanwhile, Teal outside also felt extremely surprised. Earlier was clearly the best time for Teal to strike, but for some unknown reason, a sudden chill inexplicably arose in her. Friedrich being so scared of him was probably due to this reason as well. Although the magic itself wasn't bizarre, that atmosphere always made Teal feel strange. However, if judged purely on looks, Yujin could definitely be called the most handsome she had seen so far. She couldn't help but wonder if Yujin's strength matched his looks. I've heard it all. It was you who tore off our boss's arm and heart, right? Isn't that a bit too unfair? It was clearly that uncle who severed them himself. Saying this, Yujin recognized his opponent was a demon kin, wondering if Friedrich had sent her to attack. I heard you turn the strongest combat mage into a softie, which is why I came all the way here looking for you. I am Teal. Let us, the strong ones, fight to our heart's content. I apologize. I still have things to do. I can't play with you right now. Saying this, Yujin had a bad feeling. Reading spatial memories, continuously healing severely injured people. This high-intensity magic had pushed Yujin's brain to its limit, so he had to leave here as soon as possible. Not long ago, Zhongnan asked about the holes on Yujin's neck and the white smoke coming out of them when it opens. Whether fighting Friedrich or opening the dimensional portal, Yujin was in this state. Think of it as a cooling system or an exhaust vent. Using ringless magic mainly relies on brain functions. Normally, Yujin restricts his brain, but when using complex magic, he needs to fully activate his brain. Zhongnan was curious why Yujin had to restrict his brain. Without restriction, Yujin's normal thinking speed is extremely fast, plus he inherently knows too many things. If these things go overboard, thoughts that absolutely shouldn't exist would pop up. Miss Teal, the horns on your head and the tail, you are from the demonkin race, right? I know you came looking for me for a reason, but hurriedly destroying the surroundings like this is very dangerous. Innocent people will get dragged in. Hearing this, Teal looked astonished. What are you talking about? So that's how it is. Speaking of which, when I fell down just now, it felt like I smashed a head. Where did all that blood and chunks of meat go? Why are my feet so clean? Could that be someone you know? Although it was an accident, Teal showed no guilt whatsoever for the person she accidentally killed? I don't know either. Sorry about that. As an apology, I can voluntarily take a punch from you. How about that? Eugen realized the guy in front of him was just as dangerous as Friedrich, so he immediately activated the single ring complex magic telekinetic restraint suit. This is unnecessary. I told you that I wouldn't dodge. Eugen's magic wasn't to suppress or bind the body, but to restrict Teal from exerting power and speed above a certain level. In Teal's view, the magic's casting speed and precision were flawless, and it even broke through her near-immune magic resistance. Even if you used rougher magic, I wouldn't have considered it an attack. Just what are you planning? In Eugen's view, there was no time to waste. Since the opponent was Demonkin, the effect of binding magic on her would only grow weaker and weaker. Furthermore, he couldn't just casually use ringless magic right now. You must keep your promise. Don't dodge this one, Eugen said as he used ringless magic, Spring Rocket, to dash over in an instant. The only way now was to immediately suppress Teal using form alteration. Seeing Eugen charging over, Teal was not only unafraid but actually looked especially excited. It turned out the threat Eugen posed to her far exceeded the dragons, and even more than Friedrich she encountered before. Eugen's speed had already approached subsonic. In this situation, even just a fist could break through defensive magic, so Teal decided that as long as she withstood this hit, she would use a spin kick to tear Eugen to pieces. However, the instant Eugen's fingers touched Teal's hair, her hair underwent a change. Almost instantly, Teal pulled a huge distance away from Eugen. It turned out that right at the moment of contact, her five senses were frantically issuing warnings. You clearly said you wouldn't dodge. Miss Teal actually lied, but Teal knew that if contact had been made just now, this battle would have already ended. She could not believe that the monster known as Eugen would be a mage of such caliber, and Teal only now realized that Friedrich wasn't bluffing. Didn't I take it? You touched my hair just now, didn't you? Just kidding. Although I originally wanted to keep the promise, you are simply too dangerous. I won't let my guard down again in the future. Let's end testing the waters here. However, while stepping back, Teal noticed something amiss. Meanwhile, Jong-un was confused at the name Zodiac. Isn't that the royal guard of the great demon king who died a long time ago? The 12 signs of the Zodiac? That was also Zodiac, but I'm talking about another one. Now in our line of work, among large-scale criminal organizations, it is the most influential but relatively new organization. Their boss is Friedrich, although I don't know why they chose the name Zodiac. Just like the great demon king's Zodiac, they have 12 members. My superior is also part of the Zodiacs. He runs all of the illegal magic manufacturing facilities, but I don't know anything else about him. Among the executives of Zodiac, the only guy whose name and face are known is that demonkin named Teal. She seems to be their enforcer. I heard she single-handedly destroyed several organizations across various regions that openly antagonized Friedrich. To actually send that kind of guy over, it's definitely not for support, but to completely eliminate the evidence. To think that Teal would defect to Friedrich's side, no matter how much of a monster she is, it's impossible to cause such a huge mess without a backer. Her combat record is quite spectacular. She killed 2 Mystic Tier combat mages directly under the Alliance, and even slew a neutral adult dragon single-handedly. She's also blacklisted by the Alliance, with a very high bounty. Before I lost my mana, I even considered tracking her down. You actually wanted to provoke someone who killed 2 mystics and a dragon? Did you want to beg her to kill you like you did with Friedrich? I only just had that thought. Since she's related to Friedrich, then I roughly know why she took the initiative to find Teacher Eugen. She probably feels Teacher Eugen is stronger than Friedrich, which is why she actively provoked him. But she shouldn't be a match for Teacher Eugen. To her surprise, right after Jong-un finished speaking, the ground began to shake violently. Is this shield going to be destroyed? The battle outside looks very intense. Everyone quickly use magic to protect yourselves. It turned out that after sensing the anomaly beneath her feet just now, Teal stomped heavily on the ground. Wait a minute, at least let me send the people here away first. Under these circumstances, Eugen couldn't find any opportunity to counterattack at all. After stepping down, Teal arrived in front of Eugen almost instantly. Without relying on magic, just purely through physical strength, she nearly reached the speed of teleportation. It turned out Teal's instincts were extremely strong. She didn't need to think at all in battle because her body would instinctively react. Moreover, Teal continuously challenged opponents stronger than herself, constantly honing her 5 senses. Even in battles with no chance of winning, she could fight to her heart's content and battle to the death without any regrets. Not once, not even once had Teal's 5 senses stopped her from those crazy actions. Until today, for the first time, Teal felt she had lost control of her body. Teal still wanted to continue fighting, but her 5 senses were stopping her. My vision would become narrow, and my judgment would become clouded. Although it's unknown what magic it was, that limitless regenerative ability, and that bizarre technique capable of casually twisting and deforming any touched matter and magic at will, and most outrageously, that completely unreasonable ghostly appearance. Even problems that could be dealt with just by observing calmly were simply impossible. I only managed to realize that after I nearly died and ran away. In the demonkin race, whose species origin itself originated from magic, the development of Teal's body and senses was even more unrivaled. Her senses always held an overwhelming advantage in combat, but in the confrontation with Eugen, I think this will become a more fatal weakness than for for ordinary people. Then what is it? Did you deliberately send her to her death? Although she lacks manners, isn't she the only one recruited into Zodiac solely based on her combat prowess? Under circumstances where combat power is already lacking, why make that kind of provocation? She won't die. No, she probably won't die. But this also doesn't mean she can kill Yujin. It's nothing more than two possibilities. Either let her learn to recognize her place, or recognize her own limits and get stimulated, thus breaking past her limits. Meanwhile, Teal also realized that her five senses had betrayed her. It has always helped me fully enjoy thrilling and exciting battles. I always thought it was the kind of friend who, even in a battle destined to be lost, could let me die a happy death without regrets. Compared to magic, I trusted it even more than my own body. I never wished on preserving my life. If my five senses are going to turn me into a coward, then it better get out of my body. Meanwhile, Go Huimiang used his body to protect Zhang Ein and Zhu Yunhai in the battle just now. It seems because of the spatial inversion, Teacher Yujin's protective shield broke. Let me check the situation. Why does it feel like it's taking so long to resolve this time? Shouldn't it be over soon? We should be able to go out by now, right? But the scene Zhang Ein saw was Yujin being unilaterally crushed by Teal. It turned out Teal's speed was too fast. Let alone catching her, Yujin couldn't even track her figure with his eyes. But as long as he could touch Teal once, Yujin was confident he could end the battle immediately. The instant Teal's kick came over, Yujin believed this was the only opportunity. However, Teal's speed exceeded Yujin's imagination, and he simply couldn't capture the opportunity. But Teal wasn't having an easy time now either. In previous battles, she never needed to think, so fighting this time actually made her feel exceptionally uncomfortable. But it wasn't completely without gain either. I racked my brains and finally managed to figure out a few things. First of all, this guy's hands are very dangerous. As long as I smash it before the palm touches me, it's fine. The old man must have had a problem because he tanked it with defensive magic. Even without my five senses, it is absolutely impossible for this guy to keep up with my speed. Secondly, the magic he releases from afar is an extremely meticulous magic, precise enough to penetrate my magic resistance. But I definitely won't stand still and let you activate magic anymore. The moment she blew Yujin's head apart, the magic that had already taken shape in his hand also vanished. If his head is thoroughly crushed, the magic that he was weaving will fail. And within those short few seconds, aside from regeneration, all his other movements seem to stop too. Last but not least, fundamentally his movements are more sluggish, more straightforward, and full of more openings than those small fry combat mages. Could it be that he simply doesn't know how to fight? At the same time, Zhang Ein came to the same realization, because Teacher Yujin is someone whose mind completely lacks the concepts of tactics and combat. But didn't Teacher Yujin also defeat Friedrich before? That is the strongest combat mage in the world. Zhang Ein continued, just like I said before, Teacher Yujin comes from a researcher background, and I also seem to have never heard of him specially learning combat magic or anything like that. Thinking back now, it was the same when he dealt with Friedrich. He completely didn't use lethal magic, just waving his hands around there in order to deform things. But as long as he relies on that infinitely regenerating immortal magic to hold on, the opponent will always expose an opening, right? It's just that right now the limit can't be seen. Maybe his ability isn't truly without limits. The object deformation of ringless magic has penetration power stronger than any magic I know of, so as long as I can find a way to get close and create an opportunity for his palm to touch. At this time, Zhang Ein seemed to have gotten an idea. Jelly, can you do me a favor? Meanwhile, Yujin was also in a very difficult position, because he completely couldn't touch Teal, continuously overclocking my brain for 2 days, even reaching the verge of burnout. This has a huge impact on the body. Compared to normal, brain computing functions have even dropped to 12% of their original capacity. If this continues, if I keep postponing the sleep used for recovery, why not just fall asleep directly here? It feels like the opponent came entirely for me. If I am taken away without any resistance, maybe the others will be let off. However, this isn't a 100% certain outcome. If I fall, then there truly will be no one left to save everyone. Besides this, is there any other good method? A method to completely immobilize my opponent. Meanwhile, Teal also finally noticed Yujin's changes. His regeneration speed is also gradually slowing down. He's being depleted. This guy has reached his limit. To deal with that guy, I don't need the power to win in one move at all, nor do I need large-scale attacks. I will pour everything into extreme speed and thoroughly exhaust him. Thank you so much. This is a feeling I will never forget for the rest of my life. This is a battle that doesn't rely on my five senses, but relies on observation and thinking to solve problems. If it weren't for you, I simply wouldn't be able to experience this kind of fun. I was too rash to make a bet with you, Friedrich. However, the moment she saw Yujin's current state, Teal suddenly froze. At this moment, Yujin had made a decision, because now, the only methods he could think of were ones that would hurt his opponent. At this time, Teal could clearly sense killing intent. Even though she had already discarded her five senses, the strong killing intent from Yujin seemed to penetrate her body from every pore. She couldn't help but wonder, could it be that up until now, that guy hadn't treated this as a battle at all? What a humiliation. Are you only just now thinking about killing me off? Teal swore she must make Yujin pay the price. As long as her body could still move, she would absolutely not let Yujin's body revert to its original state. But just as she was thinking this, a cutting magic suddenly hit her ear. Although that magic wasn't enough to break Teal's magic defense, her attention was still briefly drawn away, and the person who just released the magic was none other than Jaw 9. Uncle Eugen, take this chance to give her the final blow. Almost the instant Jaw 9 finished speaking, a terrifying suction force appeared in his hand. Jong Ui-hyuk's daughter, daring to interfere in our battle, truly shameless to the extreme. But right after Teal finished speaking, she felt a pulling force. It was a power that seemed not to exist in this world, and this power was pulling her closer to Eugen's palm. It wasn't wind force nor gravity, it was as if space itself was getting sucked in. Without a doubt, Teal simply couldn't break free from this bizarre power. Someone launched a sneak attack just now. This simply isn't a fair battle. Like this, we can't determine a winner. What winner? I never said I was going to participate in a match with you. The moment Eugen finished speaking, his hand slapped heavily onto the top of Teal's head. Teal's upper body directly turned into a puddle of mud. At this moment, smoke was coming out of Eugen's neck. Eugen's body finally reverted to its original state. Teacher Eugen, you've really worked hard. Seeing how you looked like you could barely hold on just now. This demonkin woman was an extremely dangerous guy to begin with. It's only natural that Teacher Eugen would have such a hard time. However, Eugen seemed to have become a different person. What a pity. It was almost successful, but a meddlesome guy got in the way. Let's wait for the next opportunity then. Jaw 9, it's great that you're okay. Are you hurt anywhere? Did you say something strange just now? I'm too tired now. Before Eugen could finish speaking, he fainted directly. After transferring all the victims to the hospital, the others also went to the police station. Although everyone suffered physical and mental trauma, fortunately, it's all to a recoverable degree. They all said they want to come personally to express their thanks to everyone, especially to Mage Jaw 9. The kidnapping case of Mage Jaw 9 will enter the formal investigation phase starting tomorrow. We are searching the collapsed site, trying to find some clues. Please wait a little longer. First, a relatively physically intact organization member actively cooperated and provided intel. We will launch an investigation based on this intel. As for the rest of the personnel, after Teacher Eugen's deformation magic is lifted, the investigation will begin tomorrow. That person named Teal has already been locked up in the special detention cell for Demonkin. I heard she is a high-risk criminal wanted by the Magic Alliance, so it was reported immediately. The Alliance's executive branch will probably come tomorrow to formally take her into custody. It's clearly something the police should do, even something we should have requested others' assistance for, yet you stepped forward risking your life. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please raise your head. Detective, I am also a victim. I shouldn't be accepting your thanks. It's all thanks to my former colleagues, and Teacher Eugen resting over there. Everyone worked hard. Just then, Detective Kim Sun-hai noticed that Eugen was asleep. Whenever he forcefully uses magic, he suddenly falls into a deep sleep. Yesterday he woke up in about 20 minutes, but today he's been sleeping for quite a while. Just at this moment, Choi Isuk's voice suddenly came from outside the door. What happened? I heard you were kidnapped. What exactly is the situation? I couldn't reach you after we went back from drinking together yesterday. I even ran to your house to look for you. You're not hurt, right? Which bastard kidnapped you? No matter which bastard did it, I'll tear them to pieces. Wait, is that Eugen? Park Jong-dae confirmed. It was Teacher Eugen who saved me and healed my wounds. He also stopped Teal, who suddenly barged in and saved everyone who was almost killed. Did you say Teal? That mystic tier serial killer actually dared to barge into our territory? Why on earth? The situation is a bit complicated, but you should know that Teacher Eugen you guys had so much fun beating up yesterday. He risked his life to protect your students. Hearing these words, Choi Isuk started to feel regret. Teacher Eugen, I will separately and formally thank him later. Also Mage Jaw 9, I have heard you suffered a lot of grievances because of this idiot's big mouth. Despite his mature looks, he is actually still a child who hasn't learned much manners. For the discourtesy and losses caused by this child, I will properly compensate and apologize to you. Truly thank you for saving my students. Me too, for the trouble that started because of me this time. I am truly very sorry. Mage Jaw 9, didn't we make a promise earlier? If you help me, I will forgive you. Please raise your head, Mr. Jong-dae. In any case, you can head home for today. Mage Jaw 9, when Teacher Eugen wakes up, please pass on my greetings to him. Later, back in Eugen's Magic Academy, he's too tall. Trying to lay him down flat was a bit of a struggle. He is clearly so heavy, yet you guys helped me move him to the academy. Really thank you guys. However, Go Hwimion commented, don't mention it. Though, while we were moving him, we kept praying in our hearts that he absolutely shouldn't wake up. What do you mean? Wouldn't it be more convenient if he woke up? I know he's a good person, but his appearance and the aura he emits is just. What's wrong with his appearance? Just purely curious and wanted to ask. Miss Jaw 9, what are your thoughts on Teacher Eugen's appearance? Why suddenly ask me this kind of question? Although the scars on his neck, his overly sharp features, and his ridiculously tall height, these are indeed very conspicuous, but I never felt he was bad looking. I guess you could say he is handsome in a way, but with this personality, he probably has never been in a relationship. I'm just saying he's not ugly. I'm not saying he's my type. Don't misunderstand. In any case, Sister Ju Yunhai and Brother Go Hwimion, truly thank you guys for this time. I heard from Teacher Eugen that as soon as you knew I was targeted by kidnappers, you rushed over immediately. We are no longer employer and employees now. To tell the truth, it's no different from being strangers, but this isn't something we can turn a blind eye to. You gave us a huge severance package and bonus back then. We definitely could help you at the very least. However, I'm a bit worried. I always feel the threat targeting Jawline this time won't just end here. We still don't know the identity of the person who commissioned the kidnapping, and the news that Jawline cannot use magic has already spread domestically. I vaguely heard that the ones targeting me might be high-ranking figures in the Alliance. Judging from the scale of the Alliance, even if there are lunatics wanting to kidnap me, it's normal, but I didn't expect them to act so brazenly. Although Teacher Eugen is indeed a capable and powerful mage, he can't protect me from all threats, but I don't need absolute safety. No matter what threat comes knocking, I will face it together with Teacher Eugen and treat them all as nourishment for my own growth. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to the incident location. The people responsible for sales had already been arrested by the police. The entire organization seemed to have been completely dismantled. The investigation showed that the person named Teal barged in, and eventually Jawline's guardian subdued Teal and handed her over to the police. No evidence connecting to our side was found at this hideout, but if that arrested middleman talks, things might get a bit troublesome. Alright then, I'll trust you to wrap this up cleanly. Apparently that is what happened, Signa. I am greatly disappointed at your empty promise. Although it's an arranged marriage, you said you were preparing Jawline as a 30th anniversary gift. Because of this, I even went out of my way to dress up for you, to actually ask me to spend the night within the likeness of your deceased mother. Do you have any idea how twisted it is to demand that of your wife? I'm in such a bad mood. It seems I have to go to the slaughterhouse and vent all night. You just sleep by yourself tonight. If it could be solved with force, I would have personally taken action long before she became weak. This incident was originally a perfect opportunity where even if Jawline disappeared, there wouldn't be any problems. After this incident, all sorts of fly-like guys will swarm over. If we blend in with them and try again, there won't be any blowback. I will handle Jawline myself. From now on, you just stay out of it. I heard Teal was caught. I know one of the mystics that woman killed belonged to your clan, so just use that as an excuse to take her into our custody. However, the man was indifferent. Even if we do that, ownership disputes will erupt within our clan. Haven't you disappointed me enough? I'm tired of hearing you only make excuses and say discouraging words. That guardian of Jawline who caught Teal, what's his name? Is it this guy named Eugen? Is he a mutant of the demon kin? I heard he's human. Looks pretty strange, right? He's a famous lunatic mage in Korea. It seems his strength is as incredible as his appearance. I heard he single-handedly caught Teal and handed her to the police. According to procedure, it's only natural for our executive branch to take custody of her, but those higher-ups who want to privately keep Teal in their hands are fighting each other. Who knew doing things by the book would be this hard? In terms of reason and emotion, Everett, this matter can only be handled by you, so I also put in a lot of good words for you. Even if you can't personally avenge your parents, the act of sending her to prison should be done by your own hands. Thank you for your consideration, but I will not bring personal feelings into my work. After all, the place I belong to now is the Alliance Executive Branch. Since it's a task entrusted by you, I will complete it swiftly and thoroughly. I will depart for Korea immediately. Meanwhile, Friedrich, upon learning this news, almost died laughing. She's still alive, right? But with that appearance, I'm afraid she'll be laughed at for the rest of her life. So, do we pick this thing back up now or not? If the Alliance gets their hands on her, even I will be in a bit of trouble. If she stays in that state, it means she also lost her usefulness, so there's no reason to save her. Regarding Eugen's deformation magic, according to the investigation results, those criminals beaten out of human shape reverted to normal after a day. If that's the case, then there's even less reason to save her, unless you chop off her limbs. No matter how precise the mana lockdown restraints you bind her with, and no matter how sturdy the prison you lock her in, there's almost no means that can truly trap Teal. As a mystic combat mage, a person who can even slay dragons, what she relies on is her physical attributes. That bizarre power isn't any kind of magic. At this moment, the police station staff were preparing to transfer Teal to a different location. Back when that guy brought the magical criminals in, I thought he had killed them before bringing them over. It's scary how you can get used to these things. Didn't they say that person is a demon kin? I heard that even without using magic, her strength is on par with a bear. That's only the level of a bear. I used binding ropes that not even two large trucks pulling in opposite directions could snap to tie her up, but have you ever tested that? I don't know. It's my first time using them too, but we've already fully applied the mana sealing magic on her. Speaking of which, that group of mages is really going too far. These equipment aren't even used a few times a year. They won't sell them, and the rent for the equipment goes up every year, the man complained while absent-mindedly entering the password. Unexpectedly, Teal had already pushed open the iron door and was walking out. Excuse me, where's the restroom? Those so-called binding ropes and mana lockdown magic had absolutely no effect on her. However, to deal with magical criminals, the police were equipped with mana decomposition bullets. Those were bullets that would completely strip the mana usage of any mage, regardless of their level. Even the mana lockdown magic from before was a lethal dose for human mages, but the things they had always used were completely useless against this monster in front of them. At this moment, Teal casually strolled towards the police with the mana decomposition bullets having no effect. Don't let her get away. No matter what, you must put the handcuffs back on her. It seems like my regeneration has slowed down. At the same time, time as she was defeating the police officers, Teal was also reviewing her battle with Yujin. But to those police officers, this was simply a devastating blow. And the most terrifying thing was, this mage named Teal in front of them hadn't used magic until now. My judgment shouldn't have been wrong. If that J9 hadn't interfered at the time. Never mind, it seems I'm really not good at thinking. My head hurts to death. I still don't really know how to use my brain right now, so stop interrupting me. However, in the instant Teal waved her hand, a person lifted her up. Being too distracted with her thoughts, Teal was actually directly thrown to the ground by someone. Seeing that familiar figure in front of them, everyone was stunned. It was Detective Kim Sung-hai that had pulled this maneuver. Despite injuring her shoulder, she felt like it worked for her to slam Teal down with her own momentum. No matter how strong Teal was, her body weight and joints are still just like a human. Although it's indeed my own fault for letting my guard down, it doesn't matter. If it were a sorcerer tier combat mage, this might be a good opportunity to deal a fatal wound to me, but you can't. If you were a mage, perhaps you wouldn't have been given this opportunity from the very beginning. Could it be that because my horns are gone, my reactions have also become sluggish? Thanks to you, I feel slightly more clear-headed now. Teal swung her arm, throwing Kim Sung-hai away. It's been a long time since I was this excited. Thinking after fighting is useless anyway. Feels like nothing will change. I'll just go home, eat, and rest. Speaking of which, why haven't you guys returned my phone to me yet? Not long after, Everett finally arrived at the police station. Did you guys just let her go like this? Our equipment couldn't even stop her, let alone catching her. Additionally, the combat mages capable of emergency support were unavailable, and there are too many severely injured people. Lastly, that fugitive named Teal seems to have no intention of launching a terrorist attack anymore. Don't security agencies all have combat mage departments on standby at all times? You should at least be able to stall until support arrives, right? Combat mage department? We don't have that kind of budget. Every time we encounter an incident requiring a mage, we apply for approval from superiors, and then temporarily hire external personnel to handle it. We'll immediately use city broadcasts to guide citizens to evacuate and expand the scope to contact more combat mages capable of providing support. However, Everett countered, you can't use broadcasts to notify. Don't provoke her for no reason, and never mind the combat mage support, because even if all the combat mages in Korea right now were mobilized, they couldn't handle Teal alone. What a pity to think a country the Archmage Jong Ui Hyuk hails from would be this unreliable. Even taking a step back, if only that person was here. Judging from Teal's personality, she wouldn't hide among the crowd or disguise herself, so identifying her shouldn't be hard. After all, her appearance is also very conspicuous. Please utilize all available manpower and surveillance cameras to help us track her location. Senior Everett, then let's set off now. Please contact us immediately once the location is confirmed. The two of us will split up and act. Is everyone alright? Where are the injured? Let me help treat everyone. Almost the instant Yujin's voice sounded, the two had already entered combat state. Without any hesitation, they instantly sliced Yujin's body in half. Who is the person in the most critical condition right now? Have there been any casualties? This guy is actually still alive? Executive officers, please wait a moment. I completely understand why you attacked, but please stop. This is Mage Yujin who is currently cooperating with us. Everett only then realized that Yujin seemed to be the mage who single-handedly caught Teal. But the problem was, this guy was actually bringing such a terrifying aura and using healing magic here. You felt it too, right? This is the most vicious and eerie aura I have ever felt in my life. Before I could even make a judgment, my body reacted first. Can such a thing really coexist with humans? His lower body seems to be recovering using some regenerative magic or the like. As expected of the mage who defeated Teal, Everett was somewhat curious why she would make a move uncharacteristically. The opponent clearly had no intention of ambushing us, nor was it some target we were supposed to deal with. It seems that subduing Teal wasn't an exaggeration or a misunderstanding. Everett realized that Yujin was a person they should request help from. At this time, Jong-un came and spoke up. Teacher Yujin, I managed to stay up until dawn waiting for you to wake up, but as soon as you woke up, you ran off without saying a word. Could this voice be? What are you doing here? Mage Jong-un,